here, let's kick it off. Ready for the weekend, can't get enough. Got my crew, Mike, Paul, Joyce, ladies laugh. Zach and Lily bring the fun, we're on the path. It's the Main Topics Podcast, right? Electronic beats and friends by my side. Gaming news and tales we'll share. No better way to start a weekend flair. Turn it up, volume high. Nintendo vibes, flying sky. Press play, let's dive in deep. Catching all the secrets we keep. It's the Main Topics Podcast, right? Electronic beats and friends by my side. Gaming news and tales we'll share. No better way to start a weekend flair. Shoulders click, stories flow. Laughs and smiles as we go. Every Friday night so bright. Main Topics Podcast feels so right. Flow. From Mario to Zelda quests. Talking all the games we love the best. Choices, insights, Zach's big grin. Lily's got the news, let's begin. It's the Main Topics Podcast, right? Electronic beats and friends by my side. Gaming news and tales we'll share. No better way to start a weekend flair. Controllers to story slow. Laughs and smiles as we go. Oh. Every Friday night so bright. Main Topics Podcast feels so right. Main Topic Podcast, all things Nintendo. Yeah!
Is it time to start the podcast? Are we live? I don't know anymore. Am I dreaming? Where am I? Is it Friday? I lost track of time. Hold up.
Hope so, because I ain't going to work tomorrow. I don't care what they tell me.
Let me just get some vibes going because it is Friday and we are here live in the Main Topic Podcast. Time to end your week on the most positive note ever. We're here talking video games, having a fun time, and just enjoying Nintendo content. And so I cannot do this without my all-star cast here, joining us from all parts of the world. We got the north, the south, the way Pacific over there. We got the east, and we got the center. Let's start over with the doctor of Nintendo himself, Miyamoto's cousin and neighbor, Furukawa's illegitimate son. I'm not sure when Furukawa's gonna recognize him, but Paul Guild Network. How you doing, Paul?
Pretty good. I mean, a lot better today than a few days ago. Recovering well. If anybody doesn't know, I had an accident and got pretty rocked up, but
yeah,
it's been 4.5 days, and I'm feeling better. So
you want to share that a little bit? Share a little bit of that later on today.
Yeah, right before I was given the quick version. I'll try to make a quicker version.
Yeah. I mean, no, you share it because I know your fans want to know. They want to make sure that you're doing fine. So thank you for being here, Paul. And going over to the side, the neighbor right here, the Hollywood. He's like down here, Mr. Zach Hollywood. Zach Hollywood. I was like Zach Hollywood Hogan. Zach Attack. What's going on, Zach?
What up, everybody? I am glad to be here. As far as what I've been playing this week, I've only had time to get a couple games of Among Us in because I've been busy working. But man, I tell you what, Among Us gets a little sus.
That's
some time.
It is
Yeah,
us.
I am glad to be here. I am vibing. It is sus. I think there we go. And yeah, it is a good Friday, and even better vibes here at the Nintopics podcast.
Thank you for being here, Zach. And moving up, right? Going up this side and then going this side, and then that side. We got straight from Hyrule correspondent all the way from Zelda's backyard. She was picking the cherries back there and then, making some carrots and just making like a salad or something and then feeding Epona. I think
Having a
Epona
smoothie.
having a smoothie is DJ Joycey J. What's up, Joycey?
Hello, everybody. I'm happy to be here. It has been a very rough week.
It is. It has.
I'm sorry, I haven't really gamed much this week. I'm still have stiffness in my hands.
Yeah.
I need to go to the doctor. Yes, I do, and everybody's been telling me that. I will.
Epsom salt is good. Like take like a little bath, put your hand in Epsom salt, leave for a little bit, and that works good for your like the carpal tunnel.
I've been doing that too, and yeah, I don't want to talk about it.
Well, I'm glad you're here, Joycey. I'm so glad
so
you're
glad
here.
to be here.
Yeah. And it's Friday. It's the time to kind of unwind, relax, and say, hey, we made it. We're good. And we got some Nintendo to talk about. I'm doing pretty well myself as well. I'm super tired. I got stories to tell as well. Paul knows what happened yesterday. Little down time that I had. But then I recovered later on in the night. Thanks to my wife, my beautiful wife, who brought me some very needed meds. But we are alive. This is Friday. We made it. And we are so excited to talk to you guys about Nintendo stuff, right? Nintendo stuff. And I need to introduce the most important cast here. One of the highlights here. You guys, the chat. You guys are part of the show. You guys are amazing. You guys make this show like the best every single week. And we love you. And we love entertaining you, right? And so thank you for being here. You are awesome. Let me know how you're doing in the chat because you guys know we're a video first podcast. So we want to get you involved. Let me know how you're doing in the chat. Are you tired? Are you happy that it's Friday, relaxing and just kind of enjoying the podcast, sitting back, get a snack, and just put your feet up and just chill, right? All right, so huge shout out to our co-host Lily. Lily is on her way to Toronto for an expo, and so once she's back, she's going to tell us all about it. But Lily, have a safe trip, have a lot of fun, and hope you bring back souvenirs for all of us here at the podcast.
Preferably
right.
Zelda ones.
Zelda one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is Zelda.
Everything is Zelda.
Everything is Zelda.
All right, so we have a little segment that we normally don't do that much, but it's called what's it called? Let me look. I think my brain is hurting. It is called Rapid Fire News, right? Things that go around in the world of Nintendo. Little important little clips and details that we want to make sure you guys know if you haven't heard yet. Have one here. In Rapid Fire News we have today marks the 33rd year since the NES commercial where Paul Rudd was featured on playing, and he's only aged about 3 to 5 years in the past 33 years since that commercial. So today, on August 23rd, 1991, that Super Nintendo commercial aired where Paul Rudd is just kind of playing like that, and the guy still looks exactly the same as he did back
You gonna
then.
play it?
Fun fact.
What was that? Oh,
Are you gonna play it?
I should play it. Let's look at it.
Fun fact, I did a dub of that commercial once when I was doing my voiceover classes. We had to do a commercial,
cool.
and that was the
For the
first one I
Paul Rudd?
picked. Yeah. Now you're playing with power,
Yeah.
super power.
All right, Paul Rudd. It's trending. I mean, everywhere. Paul Rudd.
Let's play my
Nintendo
version instead. I
commercial.
don't even know where to find it.
Yeah, because today's the anniversary of the 33rd anniversary of that.
That's so cool.
The guy's just I think he's a vampire. I honestly think he's a vampire because the guy does not age. Look
I
exactly
do
the
two
same.
things that I love.
Stop. I'm not gonna pay no royalties for no commercials. Let's see here. Yeah, I got it.
Dancing and
Stop it. Okay, I think I got it now. How? What? Hold up. This is not the video. They catfished me. How dare you? Dare that.
While Mike is finding that, I actually brought my own rapid fire topic that I saw right before the podcast, which is Xbox announced 2 days ago. I just found out today. They announced a second handicap accessible controller, because we know they have that big rectangular one with like all the plugs that you can. They have a one-hand joystick one now. And there's like all these like customizable joysticks. The trailer was cool. They had someone who didn't have the end of their arm. There was a joystick that was like a suction cup, and their arm was in the end of it, so they were able to. It was really cool. But yeah, so that is my mini rapid fire topic.
That's what I love. One of the things I love about Xbox.
Cool. I've seen the controllers. There's one that you hold here like a phone, and you can actually control it. I know Apple has the basically a keyboard that you wear on your thing, and you basically the wheelchair has like little pads instead, and you can they all have to go like this, and then with their voice, and they can edit an entire video just like that. We have a person who actually edited an entire video from their wheelchair, and they can't speak, but they have all the features and controls to be able to do that. So that's awesome for Microsoft to be, entering the accessibility world, because we need it more every day. I mean, I'm gonna need it pretty soon, because hopefully we get more games for the blind people. Although there's a guy that's making a game for blind people. Well, I can't wait to see that.
That's pretty cool.
Nice.
I met a dev he's not going to be in the Mania, but I spoke to him behind the scenes. His game is not done yet, but it's a game for blind people with sounds and everything. It's going to be beautiful. I can't wait to take a look at it. Well, not take a look at it, take a hear at it.
That's one of the things I love so much about.
The first adaptive controller commercial is like probably one of my favorite commercials of any video game ever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
iconic with the kid playing.
But that's what I was saying.
They're all
That's
cheering and stuff. It's so good.
That's one of the biggest things I love about Xbox. I'm not saying no other company does it, but it seems like Xbox, I'm always hearing about them trying to be as inclusive as possible when it comes to all gamers. And I love that about them.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll play without the sound just in case of the copyright stuff, so you guys can see Paul Rudd's face and see how he is a vampire. He's here. All right, so this is the original NES commercial featuring Paul Rudd, and so basically it has a bunch of games. You can see there he is. The guy he doesn't age. Look at him. Crazy, man.
What a classic commercial.
Yeah, the guy does not age. He's a vampire. A vampire or immortal?
Now you're playing with power, super power.
I'm pretty sure we're gonna get thing because of what
Switch power instead of Switch 2. Okay.
Switch power. Yeah. So that, and then the other rapid news I want to bring up, and this is important for all of you guys to know. Those of you who are Animal Crossing fans, Nintendo is stopping the service for the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp app, but that's not bad news, because what they're doing is they're converting it to a standalone app, including all of the events they've already done over the past how many years has been already? Like 4 or 5 years with this app. All those events are already in the game. They're gonna keep them there, and then they're gonna release a new app that is just a standalone app for a fee. If you own Animal Crossing, I don't think you have to pay a dime, and then all your saved data from your old Animal Crossing game will transfer to that new one. So you're good to go. It's for people who just want to buy the game standalone. They buy Animal Crossing Pocket Camp and start playing it and enjoying it with all those updates. Basically what they did with Animal Crossing New Horizons. Animal Crossing New Horizons, they released it, a whole bunch of events and holiday seasons and all that stuff, and then they stopped it because they were done. They added everything to the game. Same thing they're doing now with the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. The one thing that people are kind of a little bit of upset about, and is very, very understanding, right? Is that how you say it?
Understandable.
Am I being grammatical? Understandable. There you go. So it's very understandable is that Animal Crossing Pocket Camp literally went everywhere with collaborations. They did the Sanrio collaboration. They did a Pokemon collaboration, and so they're the app or the team that didn't shy away from collaborations with other IPs within Nintendo, which was awesome. And so people like, man, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp was the only one who was smart enough to collab with Pokemon, you know, and so hopefully maybe that continues with the next gen Animal Crossing on Switch 2, where they do collab with other, you know, things like that, because people love it. But yeah, it's not going away. Nintendo's just stopping the service, the updates, but they're releasing a brand new standalone app with the same game, and so you can continue playing your game there. So it's not going away. So it's not all bad news. I mean, no more updates, but still, you still have the app around. And I think that's it for Apple News. Anybody else want something they want to share?
Yeah.
Yesterday was the 38th anniversary. Oh, what? Well,
It's okay, Paul. Go ahead. It's the anniversary of what?
Numbers.
yesterday was the 38th anniversary of The Legend of Zelda hitting the United States.
Yes, it was.
It came out February in Japan, but United States was August 26th, 1986.
38th anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder what they're gonna do for their 40th anniversary.
Wait,
And,
you said 38?
30,
Oh, okay, no,
38th,
that
38th for Zelda, and
You're right.
on August 6th, the day that the Zelda pool was done, was the 30th anniversary of Link's Awakening.
Yeah. So yeah.
August in general, though, is the birth month of Zelda United States, which is why the Zelda pool had to be started in July for my birthday, but ended in August for Zelda's anniversary month.
All I have is everything like so calculated to the
Everything is
T.
so good. I won't reveal it now. I will tell you the Easter egg, but I put an Easter egg in the pool. Like, the whole pool is an Easter egg if you watch the video of it, but it basically, long story short, but it's kind of relevant. When you have a pool that's new, like, I don't have a normal pool surface. I brush my own pool. I do my own chlorine and acid and vacuuming and cleaning. I do all that stuff. But when you start a pool off for the first time after the plaster service, you have to hire someone, unless you know how to do it, to properly balance, 18,000 gallons of water that has no chlorine in it, no acid, no nothing, for the first time. So let the plaster cure properly, right? So anyways, I have a couple of guys coming over, and they're like, oh man, it's Link. Like, oh, it's so cool. I'm like, let me tell you something that nobody knows yet. You see this? And they're like, oh, there's something else in it. And they thought it was the coolest thing ever. So that's just a tease.
You're gonna go, and there's
eventually I will
literally gonna be
reveal
like
here.
a painted Easter egg, and like he was
Yeah,
not
actually,
joking at
like a
all. When he
real
was like, "There's an
Easter egg.
Easter egg in the pool."
There's a little Easter egg with a little stripes and everything.
I think only my wife knows. And then now these two dudes that came over yesterday, they were like, I would have never known. So you heard it here first publicly of a tease to come.
exclusive. And Josie, what did you want to say?
I forgot.
Something about the anniversary, the date.
I don't remember.
It's
Sometime
Friday.
it's kicking in.
It was
This
gonna
is
be about
Friday.
the Beyonce fan, I
That's the
think.
weekend.
No,
4-day weekend for people?
What you said?
What?
Is it a 4-day weekend for some people?
No.
That's next week.
Next weekend.
Don't get me excited like that.
Yeah, that's next weekend.
My dad's birthday this weekend, so
Oh, nice. Happy birthday, Papa Paul.
Hey.
Papa Paul. Happy
Papa
birthday,
cousin Paul.
Papa Paul. All right. So we got some topics to talk over today, because if you guys did not know, there's a rumor around talking about potential events happening next week. And well, let's go ahead and recap, right? Let's go ahead and recap, and so we can go ahead and talk about it because if it's true, it's exciting. If not, then it's rumors, you know. So what we got here is, first thing, let's go and react to something else first, because we had an event happening a couple of days ago. Just a couple of days ago, something happened, and so it was. I don't know how to describe it, but I'll let the expert here, Joyce, Paul, and Zach, kind of give me their.
I have to be an expert. I don't know how to be an expert.
You are an expert. You're an expert. You're an expert commentator.
Oh,
So-
do you want to hear about insurance?
No, we're talking about the Nintendo Museum.
Oh,
So
the
yeah,
insurance on that is high.
it's pretty high. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the Nintendo Museum was revealed on what day was this? What days was it? This was when was it? Where's the date? Where is it?
4 days ago.
What day? Wow,
Monday.
it's been that long. What?
I think if you hit more, then it shows the actual date.
Time flies, my friends. Time flies.
Yep, August 19th.
Fabulous.
Wow, I thought it was yesterday. What was I doing all this time?
You think you did a video on it either yesterday or the day before
Jeez,
yesterday?
Louise.
No, it
All
wasn't. No, you did your video Monday. I'm losing time now.
I
Oh,
don't
Lord.
remember. I don't remember anymore.
Look, this thing happened and we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, there we
It's-
go. Let's go.
It's Miyamoto. I didn't want to see Miyamoto's face again until he spoke about the movie, but here he is.
I love seeing
Yeah.
Miyamoto's face.
I know. I'm like, I was hoping next time we see Miyamoto, he's talking about the Zelda movie. Like he knows, he got some secrets in that brain that we want to know. So
He
here
knows when the Switch 2 is dropping. He knows
He
when
knows
the next
everything,
Zelda's
man.
coming. He knows everything.
he knows everything. So we have the Zelda Museum here, right? And so I've
The
gotten a lot of,
Nintendo Museum.
what did I say?
These are the Zelda Museum.
Wait
Wow.
till you see their pool. They actually contracted me to put mosaics in their pool.
Wait.
Yes,
I
Paul.
might be
We're
kidding.
going from
I'm not.
Better Call Paul to Pool Guy Paul.
All right, so as you guys can see here, basically what this is recapping what we see in the museum. We got the entire history of Nintendo on the walls, right here. So you have the Super Nintendo on one side, we got Game Boy, we got the NES and the Famicom, we got the Switch on this one side. I know on the other side they have the Nintendo 64, and the other side they have the GameCube. So they have the entire kind of history of Nintendo here. Everybody noticed there was like a really big giant blank wall. Hey, that's what Switch 2 goes, you know. They have to add it eventually. But yeah, basically this is that area. And we move forward and he talks about every single little part of it and the history. I noticed that they didn't mention a little bit of their past because they Nintendo didn't start out as a family company. They started out doing other things, like they had gambling cards, illegal gambling cards in some areas because it was illegal to use a certain type of card. They made them anyway, but this was like back like 100 years ago, and so I'm not sure if they include that in the museum. But they go over everything: the Famicom, NES, the games, Donkey Kong. They're this is their first game that started out as a arcade, and then they moved to
Featuring Jumpman.
yeah, with Jumpman. Look at this. Look at this one. Look at Mario. He's blue with the white like overall and a white hat. Pretty weird, right? It says Arcade Classic Series. I've never seen that before.
Do y'all ever think that Donkey Kong sits back and just looks at Mario like, you took my job?
Yeah, because he was the first one. He was the first character with the actual that wasn't even Mario when Donkey Kong came out. He was Jumpman. He didn't have a name. And
If you're
so-
a South Park fan, you should be cracking up at
Yeah.
that statement.
I still think the movie's gonna canonize Jumpman being Mario's dad, or not Mario's dad. Sorry.
Sorry, Zach. Sorry. I shouldn't
Oh
have
no,
started.
I said it wrong. Anyways, the Charles Martinet's character in the
Yeah.
movie, not Mario's dad, is other character.
Yeah, the guy that's playing on the Jumpman.
Yep. And so
Giuseppe.
the
Yeah.
fact that exists, I'm only going to dive into this theory for a second because we're talking about the museum, but I think this will have to do with the museum. The fact that exists shows that there was already a connection between worlds because somebody sealed off that pipe area.
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah.
Jumpman was Charles Martinet's character playing the game over by the game. I think that
Yeah.
him and DK, Cranky Kong, got
Uh-huh.
into it back in the day.
Yeah.
And yeah, Jumpman's gonna get a bigger role in the next movie, I think. And I
Yeah.
think that'll be really cool.
You think Jumpman will actually come out in the movie?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be the guy that Charles was playing.
He's Jumpman. He's Jumpman.
I think so. Because Cranky's the original
Because
Donkey Kong.
because in the movie, Jumpman is a fictional character, like within the video game.
Yeah, but okay, here, I didn't say it well. So Jumpman's a fictional character in the game,
Yeah.
but he's playing the Donkey Kong game, you know?
Yeah, he's playing the Donkey Kong game.
And so that's a whole separate world. Like they shouldn't know about the Kongs to even have them in a video game. But there's the pipes that are sealed off. Somebody sealed them off. Whoever went there came out and made the Jumpman video game after they learned about the Kongs.
I know.
I think
who
that's
it was.
him.
I know who it was. It was in
Piero.
it was in 1991. So I think it was John Leguizamo, Luigi. They after that movie was done, nobody wanted to know anything about the Magic Kingdom in movie wise, so they sealed it off and no, never again until they did it now.
It's all come full circle.
Yeah. So here we have a whole bunch of games, right? They see, part of the history. I used to have this. I used to have that. That's a treadmill. I have one, but I don't use it. There's people dancing.
That's a treadmill?
Yeah,
Or
this
a
is like a tricycle, bicycle, whatever, bike thingy. Did I say a treadmill?
Oh, okay.
I said
Yeah,
treadmill.
so a workout exercise.
Yeah. So we have here the history of all the question blocks and everything. So yeah, there's a lot of information here. There's a lot of stuff here from when Nintendo started experimenting with toys. And here's the shotgun here, and there's the projector where the Duck Hunt game was actually born, because Duck Hunt used to be a projector game, like a projection on the wall, and the ducks used to fly. And then they used to shoot it with this shotgun. And then there was another one before the Zapper was even invented. It looked like an actual real shotgun, which was actually really cool for the time, But yeah, there's another one here. Let's go ahead and move over here. We see the very first gaming system. There wasn't Nintendo. It was the TV Game 15. That was the first one. Let's see here. Then we got these zombies walking around like crazy. What else we got? And then we have the cell blocks. Some say that there is somebody locked in there. Who was it? Somebody said on Twitter that this is where they locked somebody in. And then they show the most interesting part of all, which is that's not it. And that's not it. That's not it. This is not it. This part right here. Look at that. You see this right here? A giant Famicom controller. So this controller, basically, it's actually works. So they play between two people playing a Mario game, right? But the funniest part, which I couldn't stop laughing during the event, and the chat knows, whoever, if you were there, I couldn't stop laughing. I almost died. Is this right here? This, I'm like, that's a good idea because that's on a table. But look in the back. What do you see? look at this. Look at the back.
Yes.
Look at the Joy-Con. Look at the Wiimote. Between two people trying to hold that Wiimote, and then this person just, you know what? I'm not gonna even pick it up. I'm gonna hug it. Like huge.
Oh, that's amazing.
They're all oversized controller, but they're all functioning controllers. Right? I think over here we have a Nintendo 64 or a Super Nintendo controller, and then a Nintendo 64 controller here. Wait, actually, this is NES. Well, they're both Super Nintendo because they're both Super Nintendo games. But
that looks like a Link to the Past.
Yeah, but right here.
Not that one, because I feel like I wish we could blow it up more, but
yeah,
that looks like a Link. There's a one of the palaces has a room like that, but
yeah. Oh yeah, look, like this is Link right here. Yeah, you're right. And then this is Mario Kart.
Wow, I really spotted that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. You're right. So these two are Super Nintendo controllers here. We have these two poor ladies lifting up that really heavy Wiimote, and then this one just hugging it, looking at the screen. I'm like, okay, Nintendo, that's very
They're
clever.
posing for
You
the
know
camera.
what's so crazy? Can you rewind a second to the big Famicom controller?
Yeah, let me get that.
Yeah,
Right.
right there. Like, he could have never imagined, 52 years ago, right? It came out or 51. It came out in 83, the arcade game? 81?
Yeah, I agree. 83 arcade, 85
Yeah.
NES.
So, like, 51 years ago, or
Mm.
51, my math just got destroyed. 41 years ago, like, dude's designing this game, you know? Like, little did he know that decades later, he would be broadcast to the whole world playing it on a giant controller in a museum with the help of somebody else because the controller's so, like, that's just crazy. Like, you know that you couldn't even imagine, like, where that was going to take you back then, you know? And
Yeah.
while they're actively working on a second movie, and yeah, that's just so cool.
Mhm.
Like,
He came up with Zelda because he wanted to explore like this cave, and he drew himself a map. Child logic, that's fine.
That's good.
You know, and God, when I think about where these games started and where we are now, you can't help but feel a little bit,
Emotional,
you know?
yeah. 'Cause
Cool.
this guy right here is basically, I don't know. To me, I credit him for Nintendo. Because without Mario, Zelda, you know, what would Nintendo be without Mario and Zelda? I'm pretty sure other characters would have risen up, but would they have been as influential as Mario was? Being, I think, the very first platformer game that existed in that kind of capacity, you know?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think there were others, but I think
I
Mario
made a
was like
video.
the perfect.
Yeah, I made a video because I made a video what a world without Mario, and I did a lot of research, and I did find out Mario was the
I
first
remember
one.
that video.
Yeah.
Well, I think the first Zelda, technically, people don't like it when I say this, but technically it is the first open world game.
Oh yeah, Zelda one, yeah, for sure.
somebody just said in
Sure.
the chat that the controller, that the console is going to be 10 times bigger than the controller.
For real, right? Imagine that.
But you know how Nintendo is. They believe in togetherness, so they're kind of forcing you to play games with your friends because you need one friend to push the buttons and somebody else to push the directional pad.
Yeah, and they also believe in having keeping you fit and moving a lot and stuff like that. Well, Miyamoto actually does that. He likes working out.
I think he came up with, what was it? Wii Fit?
Yeah,
because he stopped smoking.
Either
and
Wii
he
Fit
said
or
he
Wii
wanted
Sports.
everybody to be
Healthy.
get in good shape or whatever. So he offered that. My
Yeah.
dad even had Wii Fit. Wait, what's it called? It's Wii Fit.
Yeah, Wii Fit.
It's the
Wii
one
Fit.
that had
Wii
the
Fit.
old.
The balance board, yeah.
Yeah.
My body is ready moment.
It's still in like every single like retirement home for the most part.
Still, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
when we get there one day, not now, when we get there, our retirement home community is going to be so lit. Think about it.
For real.
We have the best music. We have the best games. The world's going to be in shambles, but we're going to be having a good time.
I do know Wii Fit has the most out-of-pocket soundbite out of any first-party Nintendo game.
No,
Almost,
nobody
yeah.
can
So
make
that, but then what they fought. So when you step on the scale, it like tells you like what shape you're in.
Yeah.
And if you pass the threshold where it labels you obese, it'll say like
Obese.
bow bow bow. That's obese. And like it's
Wow.
the best soundbite. I like just the happy little voice. That's obese. Like
It's such an accurate scale too. I mean, I used that thing as my primary scale for so many years past like Wii's relevancy into Wii U, into early Nintendo Switch days, just because like, oh, it's my scale. It's got this like 14-year journey of Paul's weight. Once every few days, a couple times a month, like, oh, periodically less and less, but yeah, it's just oh, there's a birthday. It's really cool. I like it for that. Yeah, shout out to We Bounce Board.
Yeah, so this was a direct.
Bounce Board is
What's that, Paul?
it's a really cool piece of tech. When I was finishing up my bachelor's degree in 2006, we had to access, it was a really high-tech piece of equipment, but basically a high-grade balance board before the balance board came out. And it was both a device that was for athletes and for people with difficulty standing to get rehabilitated. So the bottom floor could balance to be like on a pin, so really difficult to stand on for athletes, or the bottom of the floor could be like molasses, so super easy and slow to move on your weight. And on screen was this little square with these little reticles, and it was lean forward to go in this box, lean back into this box. And basically, a year and a half later, when We Fit came out and the balance board, I'm like, when I first saw it, I thought, this is the gamer in me and the kinesiology in me seeing this is going to be a massive hit, because when we got privy to this technology in science and then seeing how it was being used in gaming, I'm like, dude, this is going to hit so many people so differently, because it's actually fun to do what that task is in this $90 scale that does so much more, and software, and we were dealing with like a $45,000 piece of tech in comparison. Now that did a lot more, but still, I'll always be a fan of Bounce Board.
That's awesome.
Oh yeah.
Let's go ahead and shout out Boo Mini, because I think I saw it, but I think it went away. Boo Mini gifted 1 membership. Thank you so much, Boo Mini. Boo Mini comes every single podcast. She always gives some memberships, and we appreciate it so much. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. You are awesome. You're a superstar.
Excuse me, pause real quick. Just real quick. I just have to let somebody know. I do have my band hammer. And you know who you are. Okay, keep going, Mike. I'm sorry.
My band hammer?
Well, I thought you were,
Okay, my band bat. I don't have the hammer.
Okay. So with that, we got some we got a rumor out there. So let me give you a little bit of backstory of the rumor, right? Of where the rumor comes from. This guy is called PH Brazil. He is from Brazil. Name says it. And so he goes by Necro Felipe. This man was the very first leaker or insider who actually spoke about the Nintendo Switch 2 being delayed to 2025. We all got, no, that's not true. We all got upset and everything. But then the entire insider community backed them up. And so we're here in August 23rd, still no Switch 2. That basically kind of, at this point, even if they announce it today, they're not going to release it until next year and next year anyway. And so with that, it proved to have some credibility. He knows somebody in the field. Now, I think he's the only one who actually mentioned that there was a Nintendo Direct happening in August, right? And so all of a sudden we got this little, I think people call it a Direct, with the museum thing. They're calling it a Direct.
Yep,
Nintendo called it a Direct. And I'm like, I hope they could have added that 10-minute segment to the end of a bigger Direct. But still, I mean, I understand it's a big thing. Nintendo Museum is like it's a piece of history. They're revealing the first Nintendo Museum. I heard news that they were also bringing it to Orlando, Florida, part of Epic Universe. They're gonna, not the same one, but more like that's the main one.
We can all come and stay at your house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta point out, when we were predicting when the Direct would be last week, I was the only one who said August. But if you guys remember, I only said August because I was like, well, it'll totally be September. But I gotta say something different to not be the same.
Yeah,
So I didn't actually mean it, but I'll take the credit anyways.
I think the credit's yours, man. You earned it, man. It's yours. So
Super serious.
so we got Nego Felipe. After the direct museum direct, people were like, wow, he was right. There was a direct. Even if it wasn't video games, there was a direct. But he said he came back up out of the little hermit shell. He's like, no. He's Spanish, so I can, Brazil, Spanish, same thing, Latin. He said, nope, that's not what I was talking about. There's still a direct coming in August. And so if there's a direct coming in August, August is already August 23rd at the right now. We only have one more week in August, which is next week. Oh my God, Indie Mania is around the corner. Stressing out.
No stress. Be excited.
Stressing out. So we have one more week in August, which is next week. And that's the only week that the direct can happen if it's happening in August. Right? Obviously. So with that, the title of this video, direct next week, right? Look at the question, guys, because I know there's a lot of people. There's no direct coming next week. No, there's a question mark. Direct next week. This is what I look like whenever I put a question mark on one of my titles, like that. I should do that for the actual thumbnail, but because I be getting,
you look kind of adorable. So yeah,
I be getting these comments for real. I'm like, why are you saying this? I'm like, don't you see the question mark at the end?
Mike,
grammar.
Have you seen the comedy sketch where it's a lawyer, but everything he says sounds like a question?
Oh, yeah.
My client is innocent? It's like, get rid of him.
That is horrible.
Direct next week?
Can you imagine having a lawyer like that? That's horrible. But anyway, so I made a video, I think when it first came out. I mean, what I say, I'm not gonna say it's not gonna happen. I've always said, because first thing, let's put this out there. Nintendo has been following their every year schedule. There was a direct in February. They didn't change that. There was an Indie World around March and April, right? Then there was an announcement on Twitter in May that there was a direct in June. Not that we wouldn't get two information there, but there was a direct in June because normally Nintendo does a direct in June in the summer. And so Nintendo has been following their regularly scheduled programming when it comes to directs. They haven't changed a bit. And so with that, I say, you know what? I feel like Nintendo's not going to change their schedule at this point. They're going to give us a direct in September as they always do. The only reason I think they might push it backwards is maybe because they want to create space between the actual direct and the Switch 2 trailer. That way they don't overshadow each other, because they want to make sure people like focus on the video games that are coming, and then when the Switch 2 is announced, they focus on that. Imagine if they put the Switch 2 trailer at the end of the direct. People are gonna forget about the game. Like, what? Switch 2? So
I have so many ideas.
So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and throw it out to the chat. To the chat, to the crew now. Now that we have the backstory of what's happening, will PH Brazil will he be correct on this little statement that there is a Nintendo Direct next week? And if so, what does this mean? That Nintendo is all of a sudden giving us a Direct in August, at the end of August. I'm gonna go ahead and start with Joycey. What does this mean? What
I
is
was reading something.
Gonna start with Joycey?
Joycey? With Joycey?
Oh.
Joycey?
I'm sorry. What was the question? Seriously.
Um,
I'm sorry.
what do you think
answering
about
text
the
messages?
What do you think about the Nintendo Direct?
Nintendo
rumor?
Direct rumored for next week. If
Okay.
so, what does this? Okay, do you believe the rumor? First thing, yes or no. And second, if it happens, what does this mean? Like, what is Nintendo? What do you think Nintendo's up to? That they're moving the Direct forward a little bit, like a week or two, because it's not really that much time. Normally, the real Direct is like first or second week of September, so it's not like they're moving the Direct months, right? They're just kind of like pushing it couple weeks, like a week or two.
So here's the thing. I love speculation. I love talks. This is one of the things I look forward to for this podcast, that we all get to have like these talks and get so excited. I don't know if I believe it. I don't really care one way or the other.
Yeah.
I heard they're going to show new Echoes of Wisdom.
Ooh,
I
it's
don't
gonna
need to
be a
see anymore. You said Zelda.
I was just kidding. I thought as soon as I said that, you'd be like, never mind, I care.
But no, you're right though, but my thing is, they say Zelda, and I just pull out my credit card. There's no there. Look, y'all remember a couple weeks ago when Lily showed us her treasure box, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want it. It's not hardback." What did I buy?
You got it.
Amazing.
Why do I need this?
Lily.
For your
Because it's
Nintendo
Zelda.
museum.
Have you read what the stories entail?
I haven't taken the plastic off, Paul.
I think it's the one.
So, but have you ever read those stories before?
A little bit. I have.
So no,
I'm
you
taking
haven't
time.
read all of it, and that's why you bought it. Justified.
Thank you. See, where would I be without my Paul?
I feel like a
Seriously.
true fan would have read all of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Do you know how many books I own? I have my own. I have like
No,
Belle's library from Beauty and the Beast.
You have one of those libraries that's like one of those. Oh man, they got like that.
Does it make
Almost. I'm right.
Yeah.
The books are getting to the point where they're covering the window
That's
because I'm
pretty
running
cool,
out of
though.
space. Yeah,
And-
I love to read. But seriously,
Good.
I love my games. I love Zelda. I love everything. But when it comes to directs, I get excited. I'm always on the hype train. If you're looking for me, I am on the hype train. So the thing is that sometimes is kicking it again. No, I'm always in the hype train because I know Nintendo's doing something. I know something's coming. It's okay if it doesn't come when I think it should or when it's rumored to. It's coming. So do I believe it's coming next week? There's a lot of really good evidence for it, but I'm so used to September. But it would make sense if things are tracking the way that we're hearing that they're tracking. It would make sense for them to say, "Oh, let's push up the next Nintendo Switch Direct, so we can possibly drop Switch 2 either October, November-ish." You know, and then that sets us up for early next year. But then my question becomes, well, what if they're not planning on dropping the Switch 2 early next year? You see what I mean? So these presentations, when they come up with the museum and all this other stuff, I love it. Because I've always said, I wish Nintendo would talk to us more. I wish Nintendo would do this and do that. Well, they talked to us. They told us what's going on. I mean, okay, so it's not a whole bunch of back-to-back games. We just had a direct with a whole bunch of back-to-back games.
Yeah.
And then there's other games that are coming out that are not just Nintendo. While Nintendo obviously doesn't need anything else. You know, there's plenty of still other games on other systems that are, you know, popping off as well. If you're a gamer, you picked the right timeline. I don't know about taxes and world news, but for games, you picked the right timeline. So I'm excited, period. And then Echoes of Wisdom. I have eaten so well as a Zelda fan, and then I have more. I'm perfectly happy. So if it comes next week, I'm excited. If it comes in 6 weeks, I'm excited. If it doesn't, we don't hear anything else until next year, I'm excited. So it's Joyce's in a good place.
Yeah. And it's going to be at PAX too. Echoes of Wisdom is going to be at PAX. People to play.
I'm actually don't want to watch anymore because you just say Zelda and that's it. Because here's the thing. When it comes to the big 3D games, especially during the Wild era, originally I watched like every little morsel. But when Tears of the Kingdom came out, I literally watched the big trailers they released, and I watched the presentation. Shout out to Nintendo Prime. Thank you, Nate, for the $4.99 super chat. We love you. Nintendo Prime, y'all go follow him. He is friends to the show and friends with me and Mike and Paul.
Hey, what up, Nate?
And Zach's your friend too, Nate. You don't know him. I don't know if y'all know each other, but
I was on a show once. That's why I
Oh, you
was
were?
like, oh yeah, I was like, long time no see. Anyways, keep going.
Awesome. So, anyway, I don't, you know, I kind of, I realize what Nintendo does. They make these really great beefy trailers and to make it seem like we're seeing a whole bunch of stuff when we're really not seeing, we're seeing less than 1%. So I don't need to see anymore. I want the game. I want it in my hands. I want to sit on my couch. I want to blare the music and just play. That's what I want.
When's the release date?
The 21st of September, I believe.
It's gonna be a PAX.
Go to my old lady calendar. Hold on.
It's gonna be a PAX West. I got my passes for PAX.
I'm sorry, guys. I think it's the 26th.
I'm not sure if I will go unless my wife tells me last minute, hey, you can go last minute. But because of Indie Mania, we have our hands full. We have a lot still ahead of us. Gonna focus
and I'm
on
excited for Indie Mania because indie games don't be playing with your feelings. They are excellent.
This show that we're putting together, the games on this show is gonna feel like a direct, but and even bigger because it's 3 days. We're not making the show that long per day because we hear the feedback out there, and people don't like 4-hour shows. They get right, Paul. They get like very tired and kind of worn out.
Yeah, very few things I think can hold people's attention for like 2.5 hours plus, and maybe if it's a really invested movie that has a huge fandom, but something that's bite-sized, that's designed to be bite-sized, which is trailers, being 2.5 hours of bite-sized things in a row is probably too much for most. So I think the time that we have it down to plus or minus 5 minutes here or there is going to be solid. People could watch it for the first day, be like, I saw games, I saw this, they had this, that was unexpected, that was cool, that really, what? Oh, okay, cool. I'll tune in for day 2 for you're going to get some of the same, but all the games are going to be different, and some of the other things are going to be different. So like, then you're going to come back for day 3. So all 3 days, the main thing is freaking dozens of games people are going to see.
Yeah,
but that's the right time, I think.
Yeah. We're doing pretty good job in pacing the show so that when you are watching it, you feel like you're getting something good the entire time. And also, you'll see. It's a lot of work into it, but hopefully you guys. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was hoping they would. That part where they show all the different systems.
Mm-hmm.
I was so hoping they would just make it super obvious,
right?
Where Miyamoto would just walk by the empty Switch 2 space and it would just have a sign that said something like the Switch successor, and he wouldn't comment on it. It would just be hanging out in the background. He wouldn't say anything because, and I'm gonna say real quick. Before Tears of the Kingdom came out, I love to watch all the Zelda theorists and everything. And we all were picking up on this thing from Breath of the Wild, the Zonai parts and everything. Mm-hmm. The theorists were going nuts. And when Aonuma did the presentation, he picked up one of the items after he hit one of the little constructs or something. And it was a Zonai charge. Mm-hmm. And that's what it said when he picked it up. And it was very obvious that he wanted people to notice it. Because it was kind of like, because you know how the items drop and Link kind of just looks down at it. And Miyamoto's and Anuma's not saying anything for like a split second, and then he's like, and Link collects it and he says, "Moving on," and he's like, "We saw Zelda." Yeah,
right. Like
I was hoping we'd have another moment like that with the music.
I can tell you that if Reggie were still the president on Nintendo, they would have done something like the camera pans a little bit, and then Miyamoto takes the camera. We're not ready for that yet. And then pan the camera back to him and say, kind of redirect you towards looking something, hinting that the Switch 2 wall is there or whatever.
There
that would have been something. Because
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Oh, no, keep going.
No, I'm saying that would have been something that Reggie would have done, because Reggie was more like theatrical and kind of more out there with the skits, the puppets, and all that stuff they used to do back in the day. Right. This is Reggie and Iwata, right? They were more like creative minded, and we have now more like a businessy type, people like Bowser and and Furukawa, they're both businessmen. You know, they're not creative. They didn't come from the creative field. Iwata was a game designer, right? He was a game designer first.
Yeah, he was the only Nintendo president who like wasn't always in an elite position.
Yeah,
which is super rare to like work your way up. The way that it
crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's insane. But yeah, what were we talking about? What's the topic of the day?
You're talking about the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, Nintendo Direct happening next week. Any thoughts, Zach?
Yeah, you know, like thinking about it, I'm in the same boat as well, not in the same boat as Joyce, where I'm just like, I don't care. I'm more in the same boat where I'm like, I have no clue what they're doing. I'm going to say yes just for funsies, since last week I was like, yeah, August 31st. It'll be the first Direct on a 31st. So I'm going to stick with not just next week, but August 31st for funsies.
Yeah.
But like, I was just thinking about it while we were talking, and Nintendo is kind of in uncharted territory right now for them. Like, we've always been able to kind of predict Nintendo. They're going to come out with something innovative, something whether that's the 3DS with the multiple screens or the Wii with the motion controls, you know. But as far as like how they're functioning as a company, it's kind of different than anything we've ever seen from them before at this point, because they have the movies, they have the theme parks, they have the other productions that they're doing. Like, these are all different things that they haven't explored before happening at once, and these are all things that are going to put you in the public eye for interviews more and more. They just launched this museum, you know, they're about to launch a new system after what very shortly is going to become the most successful system of all time. And so, but at the same time, we look at all of these other studios, everyone's budgets are ballooning. You know, Nintendo almost feels like an indie company to me, like as far as their approach to things. And, you know, we see all these video game budgets. You know, Destiny back in 2014 was like the most expensive game ever made at $500 million. That was for the base game 10 years ago, you know, and that's like before they dumped more into DLC, into other DLCs and whatnot, and then Destiny 2 and these games, like, I have no clue how much money's been dumped into GTA 5 at this point, you know. But all that to say, Tears of the Kingdom is, even if it's not the hottest seller, I feel like we can all kind of agree that that is the biggest launch of the Nintendo Switch, if that makes sense. Like, that was like the most hyped thing because of how successful Breath of the Wild was. They haven't released the price, the budget, but industry experts are saying it's like probably between 100 and 150 million to produce their biggest game of an entire system. And then, like, you look at that a little more, and like, if you're familiar with game development at all, game devs are like, how the heck did they make this game? Like, Tears of the Kingdom is probably the most technically impressive game ever made, even if it's not crisp visuals running at 120 frames a second. Just being able to traverse through these different regions and these and like the ability to rewind and how crazy the physics is. I remember when it first launched, like, literally every single game dev was just like, this is crazy. Like,
this shouldn't
the
work.
amount, like, this shouldn't work, and it should be buggy. And like, people found bugs, but like, that's like millions and millions of people actively searching for bugs to exploit for speedrunning, you know. But so all that to say, like, 100 to 150 million for the most technically impressive game ever is such a small amount compared to what these things are costing now. And now Nintendo's got these movies that are bringing in billions. You know, they've got the theme parks, which are going to be bringing in tons of money. They have these partnerships, you know, that they just had this, this deal with Microsoft going on. And so, like, I could see there being a Direct, like, every month for the rest of the year. You know, I don't expect it, but, like, we didn't expect a Direct for the museum out of nowhere this month. You know, it was just like, oh yeah, like, we knew that was a thing that was coming, and then they were just like, boom, Nintendo Direct for the museum. Like, I have no clue. We could get a Direct for the Zelda movie next month, unrelated to other games. We could get a Direct for the other project that they are working on that we don't know about, for another project that they just decided to announce out of nowhere next month. Like, it's a really cool time to be a Nintendo fan, because it's like, I feel like it's like early Disney, if that makes sense. Like when Disney World was first made, like the cultural relevance and impact that like Walt Disney and his studio had, and all these groundbreaking technologies. I feel like it's that with the indie developer mindset and like the world's biggest budget. So all that long-winded thing to say, they literally could do a Direct about anything. And like, I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, Nintendo DS Classic, boom. Like, you know, like we talked about that, what, like a month ago, 2 months ago? Like how they could like potentially drop something like that, or Nintendo GameCube Classic. That would be a Direct all on its own. And so like, you know, we're in August. We could get 2 more Directs before the month's over.
Facts.
Do I expect them? I literally
More Directs.
I don't, but I'm also like, I wouldn't be surprised if that makes sense. I won't be surprised if it doesn't happen. I won't be surprised if it does. And I think that's a cool place to be.
I agree.
Yeah.
Something you said, Zach, like it feels like Nintendo is early Disney in some ways. I mean, here's a company that's been around since 1889, and as a video game entertainment company since the late 70s, as you know, a console manufacturer since 8 days after I was born, you know, which is a good way to remember it, with the Famicom specifically. But they're a small company. And you think, like, what do you mean a small company? They've got like 8,000 employees worldwide. You're like, well, 8,000 is a lot of people. Do you know how many Sony has? Like 120,000.
Yeah.
Whoa. Do you know how many Disney has? About 225,000. Whoa. Those are massive companies. Disney has around 225,000 people working for them worldwide. Sony about half of that. Now Sony is, you know, a media giant where it has, you know, music and computers and I don't know if they do phones anymore.
Appliances. Yeah.
TVs, appliances, Columbia, TriStar Pictures, films, partnerships with things, and like blah, 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 blah. Nintendo makes video games. And then they have their partnerships with Vans and Puma and stuff like that. They license things out with, you know, Kraft cheese and stuff. But like Nintendo's a smaller company. It's a Japanese, you know, Kyoto-based company that has offices elsewhere. But I think that, you know, the Mario movie was this birth of something new coming. And like, not just that, but that simultaneously with the Super Nintendo world was we're a juggernaut. When people think of their favorite things, they think of like Mario and Pokemon, Star Wars and X-Men and Batman and all those other companies. All those other IP, they belong to giant things. And here's Nintendo coming from this relatively little company, but that's up there with so many people's most favorite things. What if we had a bigger reach? Like, how big could they get?
Exactly.
And I think that was a taste of, if we do things right, every movie could be 1 billion. If we do things right, every TV show could be, wow, how many people are turning into House of Dragons? 17,000. How many people are turning into Breaking Bad, breaking records? How many people are turning into your new episode of Family Guy? Nintendo's IP, doing it right, every TV show could hit these numbers. Every cartoon could hit these numbers because their games already do. They're already the cream of the crop there. Do it in the movies, do it in theme parks. Maybe eventually they'll find the right way, and a lot of people will be happy to finally sell music, their own streaming platform. Maybe it won't be through iTunes. Maybe it won't be through Spotify. Maybe it'll be through, you know, the Nintendo Audio Club or something like that. And like reasonably priced.
They already have an app, put audio on it.
But you've got
and charge
thousands of
for it.
different songs, and you could organize it in decade, in franchise, in console, in MIDI, in orchestra, and they could gamify it. Like the potential for what Nintendo's going to do to expand. I think Nintendo will always be Nintendo that we love, but I could see the company in 20 years being so much more than it was in the last 40 that I grew up a fan.
Yeah, I agree. I agree because Nintendo is actually they're making themselves immortal with theme parks, video games, and movies. They're cementing themselves to be here for a long time, way past our lifetimes. And I agree with this Nintendo Direct coming in September. If it comes in August, one thing you guys didn't cover is if they do have this Direct in August, Nintendo is very strategic with everything they do. Nothing is like out of blue. They're very that's what I love about that company. They're very strategic. They plan things well. Everything is well executed. They don't shy away if they have to delay, or they delayed Tears of the Kingdom by a year. Oh, it's done. We just want to make sure it's good to go. It's weekend. So they for an entire year they worked on that game after it's done to make sure that everything is good. Same thing with their movies. Same thing with their. I'm pretty sure same thing with the theme parks.
Mm-hmm.
And so with them, if true, giving us a Nintendo Direct in August, that's also calculated. And I'm going to go ahead and take the part as in, yes, it's happening, but why is it happening is the question. Why are they giving us a Direct in August when they had one in June? July, just 2 months ago, right? 2 months ago was the one in June. They had a Direct in June, and I believe that the reason why they're doing it is to because of the Nintendo Switch 2 trailer. Not that they're going to release the trailer in the Direct, because I want you guys to set your expectations. What is the M&Ms? You call my attention. I'm like, what M&Ms? So,
Here, Mike, you want some?
Wait.
We need to be able to do that.
That
like,
would be
it's
so
for real.
funny as a dumb joke one time. Like,
Right.
literally, don't even say anything about it. Just have it ready for
Yeah,
like
like,
an
no, I'm
hour
just
gonna
and
hand it
32
over.
minutes into the podcast and pull that out and don't even acknowledge it. That,
I have a good time for us.
I'm
to do
sorry,
that.
Mike. Continue.
Yeah.
On Nate's podcast, Nate could pull it off with Eric because they're in the same room. So they could do one of these and they could make it work. Well,
Yeah.
we could make it work here, like, hey, Joycey, here you go. And Joycey could go, "Whoop, oh, thanks." And a Mike, and a Zach, and a me.
Yeah. We'll work on it. We'll work on it. When you guys are at least expecting, we'll be just talking and kind of just passing snacks to each other.
Never let
back
them
and
know your
forth.
next move.
Yeah. But so you guys set your expectation. Let's say they do have a Direct in August. It doesn't mean Switch 2 for the Direct. It means that they're working or they are planning ahead for that Switch 2 trailer and making sure that it's well spaced so that they let the news outlets, the media, focus on the Nintendo Switch games that are being announced and make sure that gets out there well. There's nothing overshadowing something. Imagine if they do Switch 2 at the end of the Direct, that will overshadow everything that they just announced, and nobody will care. Like, who cares? They announced that Switch 2 is right there, right? So what they want to do is give us a Direct, whether it happens in August or September. The next Direct that's happening is to fill in the rest, the beginning of next year, right? We only have January with Donkey Kong game. Then we need February, March, April, and May. I think up to May, Nintendo will focus on bringing games for that time. And so this Direct coming up, hopefully if it's August, then yeah, that's what Nintendo's going to do. Announce games for the first half of next year, 2025. Maybe even give us a Metroid Prime for release date and just shoot that over to July or shoot that over to August. By then, Switch 2 would have been out, and then that will be a launch game on Nintendo Switch and also Switch 2. So thinking, assuming, I'm not saying it is, okay? So don't say I did, I said it. Assuming it's in August, then I would say with the good amount of distance in time, the trailer could drop around October. Drop October, then January, February, have that big stage presentation, and then March, April, or May, have the release time around that time. And I think it's going to happen before May because Nintendo wants to take advantage of all the gaming events that are happening after, like Indie Mania Year 2 is happening around that time as well. And we have Jeff Keighley's Summer Game Fest having around that time. And so what better way to launch the system right before they can push all those games? They can kind of, release new trailers and all these gaming events happening after. Just kind of, another thing that they came up this past week was the price of the Nintendo Switch 2. What could be the price range of that system? And there was an insider who said that the Switch 2 will be less than $499. He didn't mention any price. Just said less than $499. But because he mentioned $499, people are already thinking $500. No, he said less.
It's going to be $498 instead.
$498. But I want to tell you what price I think it's going to be. It's probably going to shock you. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to disagree, but I'm going to tell you why. I think Nintendo Switch 2. First thing, remember, we're getting the base model of Switch 2. We're not getting the OLED model. We know that's coming. When Nintendo is actually doing an LCD screen for its first model, we know that there's an OLED up ahead, maybe 2 years later, right? And then we have a light version as well. Hopefully, we have a light version because my daughters like the light version without the Joy-Con removable stuff. But I believe that Nintendo, and this is my personal opinion, will start the price where the OLED left off. $349, $359 for the base model. Nintendo releases a $399 model with the OLED, and then the light at $249. The reason why I say this is the same reason I keep saying it. Nintendo is a family company. They're not a next-gen hyper-realistic company. They focus on providing gaming to the general population. Nintendo knows that not everyone can afford a $500 system. You know what I mean? And we're gamers. We will buy it anyway. But I'm also thinking in the way that there's a lot of people out there who can afford a $500 system, who are able to afford the Switch Lite or the Nintendo Switch base model right now, right? And maybe the Switch OLED. And so I think that's what Nintendo's going to do. They're going to go from that price moving up for future consoles. Their money comes from software. They sold over 1,200,600,000 and something video games on the system on Nintendo Switch. And that's where their money comes from. It doesn't come from, they get some money from the system, some profit, but their money really comes from the software, and they would benefit more by having me buy one system for my daughter and another system for my daughter. Why? Because if I'm going to buy an Animal Crossing game, I gotta buy them both an Animal Crossing game. They each have to have their own because you can't share a digital game. If they're going to play at the same time, you can't really share that game. So I buy them. No, you can't share it. No, you can't share it.
Yeah.
That's the trick, Paul.
No.
Hey, he's working on his son.
There's the
He
trick.
knows.
But
I have a Nintendo Switch, and Paul Gale's secondary Nintendo Switch is the Nintendo Switch OLED model.
Mm-hmm.
My son, Bryson, he's not an account owner on either. So for him, both are his secondary systems. But the base Nintendo Switch is under Paul's base, and the OLED is a secondary.
Under the same account.
Yeah. So what I did was, like, most of my games I buy physical, but I'm like, wait a minute, you could share digital. So for Splatoon 3, I'm going to buy it digitally. So I could play on my OLED model, Splatoon 3, or on my regular Nintendo Switch, the primary account, Splatoon 3. My son can only access Splatoon 3 on the base model on his account because that is considered the primary system.
Mm-hmm.
So when we play Splatoon 3 together, I log on to the OLED model under Paul Gale. He logs onto the base model, and we both log on to Splatoon 3, and we could both play completely independently or together one game the entire time. That's how you make digital work. And that it does work, but it isn't as easy as like, okay, what if he logged on to this one and that? Like, I can log on to any one, but he has to log on to one. But digital
To
does work at the
simplify
same
that,
time.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, the thing is that it doesn't work with every
We've got Pokemon Scarlet. Like,
it doesn't work with every game. I can confirm that because both of my daughters have Animal Crossing. I have Animal Crossing too.
Animal Crossing, yeah, doesn't.
Yeah, there's a lot of games that if you logged into once and you're playing it, it'll give you an alert on the other one, or it'll kick somebody out of the other one, and so it doesn't really work. You know what? It doesn't really work because it's not a thing. There's a way you can find around it, and you might get away with some, but in a general sense, for Nintendo doesn't provide that feature that you can play one digital game from one account on 2 or 3 separate systems. We all have to have our own version of the game, and so with that said, that's how Nintendo can actually benefit by selling more than one system per household, because you have to buy more games per household. It doesn't work with it doesn't work with Mario Kart either. We tried that the other day. My daughter has she has my account under her Switch as a secondary account. I have my Switch here with my Mario Kart. We tried playing the same Mario Kart game, me against her. It gave them the message popped up. It popped up. So I'm not sure.
On your secondary account.
Yeah, on the secondary account,
like Odyssey. And on the primary account, she signs up as hers. It won't let you.
No, I signed up as a primary account. I'm playing, and if she signs up, it doesn't let her.
Okay, try for the heck of it. Try this later because we've done
The
it with Mario
reverse.
Kart and it works.
Yeah,
But you
I've done it
on
too.
your secondary account, you on your secondary Switch have to sign on because like your Mike Odyssey account is on all of your Switches, right?
Yep. Well, as on my Switch as a main account, as on all the others as a secondary, so they can have access to the games I have.
So
Here,
as
I'm
long
gonna
as
simplify it, Paul. Okay, I know what you're saying.
As long
So-
as Mike signs in on a secondary Switch under his mic, and one of the girls signs
The account
on,
owner can play on any system because they're the account owner. The main system is registered as the main system, so other accounts can play on the main system, is what you're saying.
and if the daughter is on the
main system, you use a non-mic account.
Yeah.
The system that is your home system, and then on the other system you use your mic account, and then it should work because I've done that with Mario Kart too.
And that's how it works with 95% of the library, because any game that works with the save data cloud system works, but certain games don't. Like,
Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
Like I said, it doesn't work.
So technically, you can't really say it's a feature, because if there's a loop to go through, we're gamers. We will find a way. But for the everyday dad that really just cares less about video games, he just wants to buy a system for their kids so that they can play, he has to go the route of buying a game for each. And that's how the real world goes. Not us gamers who can find loopholes and do things here and there and have all the time in the world to discover these things. There's a lot of people out there who can't figure that out.
For the
Tracy,
majority,
you're muted.
Sorry, I was muted because I was munching. I was gonna say there's gamers like me who also don't want to do that. Y'all remember I opened my Tears of the Kingdom Switch just because I wanted to start Tears of the Kingdom over, but I don't want to get rid of my original save file. It's my personal achievement. I don't know. It's something.
Yeah,
So because, and then like however many weeks later, I told you guys I have started replaying it. Paul was like, why didn't you just create a second profile? And I was like, I don't know why I didn't do that. Because I don't know.
yeah, you could have 8 profiles on one system.
So
I don't be paying attention to stuff. I want to plug it in and play.
Exactly. The regular consumer doesn't know this, and to be honest, they care less about this. They look for the easiest way for them Oh yeah, you have a Switch. You have a Switch. You guys both want the game? Here, one copy for you, one copy for you. Done. And that's the best way to confer and to kind of be sure that both of your kids can play your games and not run into any issue. And so, with that said, that is my whole argument why I believe Nintendo Switch will not be a $500 system and not even a $449 system like people are actually saying out there. I think Nintendo's still keeping it. The first thing we heard about the Switch was, Nintendo's going with LCD screens because they want to make sure that they want to keep the price low. They want to keep the price low. They want to cut costs so that in turn they don't have to sell it for a lot of money. You know what I mean? And another proof to this pudding is that look at the Xbox Series S. This is a system that will be compared with the Switch 2 when it comes out. The Series S, which is a lower model of the Xbox line, not the X, the S. How much is that system? And it plays next-gen games as well. It's $299. It's the system that will be competing directly with Nintendo Switch 2 when it comes out, because both of them will be on an even playing field when it comes to the games that they support. You know, they both support next-gen systems. Right now, any system that's compared to Switch, because I've seen a lot of comparisons. Oh, this one versus Switch. They're all going to win because they were all released within the last 4 or 5 years, right? So it's new technology versus Nintendo Switch technology 8 years ago. So once Nintendo releases their console, it's going to be they're making it powerful enough to support some current gen games. I'm not sure if it's all current gen games, but some current gen games, and it'll be on an even playing field when it comes to third party support. And it's only $299 for the system. If Xbox was able to do it, Nintendo can do it even better. And so that's why I don't believe it'll be in the 400s. If they were able to create a console for $299 that at least supports the current gen games at least at a lower resolution, it's not technically 4K resolution, but at least at a lower resolution, then Nintendo can do it with their systems as well. And then you might have the argument, oh, but wait, it's a handheld mode. Nintendo knows what they're doing. They've been working with handhelds since the get-go, and we have ARM chips now, which are very powerful, and so you can fit a lot of power into a small form factor. Look at iPhones right here. I have an iPad over there with the M2 Pro chip. I mean, it's like my iPad is more powerful than my computer. You know what I mean? And so we are living in different times now.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
I think my internet's still a little laggy, so like I think someone's done, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, he's still talking. So that's my
Either one of us.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but basically that's my argument. Nintendo Switch 2 will not be a $500 system. It's gonna. I don't rule out it's gonna be under $399.
I agree with you that Nintendo wants to keep it cheap, but for the sake of not just saying the same thing that you said, so the podcast can have more stuff, I will say the biggest hurdle would be, you brought up Xbox, so I'll just go with that just to diversify things a little bit. Phil Spencer has admitted that every Xbox console is sold at a loss up to $200 depending on the console, because Xbox isn't in the business of selling consoles, they're in the business of selling software. And so the question, and we know Nintendo, Paul can probably correct me, has never sold a system at a loss.
Only twice. And you know when they did? Wii U, which was their worst selling home console ever, and 3DS, which was a good selling system, but not as good as its predecessor.
Okay.
And I think Nintendo will not sell another console at a loss. Even GameCube back in the day was making like $17 per GameCube. N64 was making like $12 or $21 per system. Wii was making like $37 per system. But you're right. 3DS, the first time they sold it at a loss. And
So
Wii U,
taking that
the
into
second
account, then, just for a point of reference, he didn't say which ones sell for how much of a loss, but you can assume it's actually the cheaper models, since you get diminishing returns on your upgrades, and those sell, the more expensive ones sell more. So if they are selling a Series S for $200, and let's just cut to the middle instead of do the full 200, let's say they need to sell it for 300 to break even. That means if they want to make a profit, really it should be at least 317. So all that to say, I think that's going to be Nintendo's biggest hurdle, and I think that kind of goes with what you're saying about the LCD screen. Is they're like, we're not selling this at a loss, but like launching with this OLED model, that price is too high. So let's launch with this LCD screen to keep that price down so we can still sell it and make some money. But no, I was thinking about it, and I could see, not likely, no, I could see though them having 3 different Nintendo Switch 2s that they're selling, but there's really only 2. And so the top 2 are a bundle, so that's how they're able to get away with still making just 2 SKUs. And so you have the LCD Nintendo Switch, the base model, with no dock, because you can use your dock from the Switch One. We were talking about that. I think you were the one who brought it up last week, Mike.
Yeah.
Then you have the Nintendo Switch 2 LCD dock bundle. So this is the middle price range. It's literally the same model, but it comes with the dock, and they're selling it as a bundle, not as its own unique system and unique SKU. And then you have the second SKU, which is maybe the OLED, which is the one that's $499, but that comes with the dock that has like a GPU or something. I don't know. I would like that. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But technically you can do that, and then you can only have 2 SKUs, and you can start at, 300, 350, 415, 425, 499, and kind of try and dip into the family market while also dipping into like the hardcore gamer market a little more. Is it wishful thinking? Yeah. Do I pretty much not believe any of that? Also, yeah, but trying to get a little creative here.
You're hilarious.
LCD of yesterday is not necessarily the same today, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's a better quality, more advanced. Let me show you guys something here real quick. I think Paul's gonna like it. People, I'm sorry. How many patents have I covered in the past? Like, anybody give me a number?
3.
I mean, I can tell you,
Negative 72.
They're in the hundreds. They're in the hundreds, right? There is, and I think Zach can kind of explain perfectly what I always say about every patent. What do I always say about every patent?
It tells a story of what they're thinking. They wouldn't have made a patent if they weren't thinking about it, but doesn't mean it's going to happen.
It doesn't represent a finished product. And I released a video. I mean, I accidentally released last night. I was supposed to schedule for today, but I released last night of a new patent. And yes, it has to do with the Switch 2. Just because there's a model in the system that looks like the Switch doesn't mean it's the Nintendo Switch. They're not going to give you the entire picture of the Nintendo Switch on the patent and for everybody to see. If they're going to show you something, they're going to use a model, a dummy model. I'm going to say something. I'll leave it there.
They're trying to patent like a certain idea or a certain mechanism, right?
Yeah, and I have it right here.
So they can't put the whole design out there.
And they're never going to do that. They've never done that, right? And so I have it right here. First thing you can see here, this is the dummy model. Why do you think it's a dummy model? Because look, it doesn't even have the plus and minus. No plus, no minus. This is the dummy model of what the Switch 2, in essence, it's going to be one screen here, a Joy-Con on each side, and buttons, right? And there's like this little button here too, like right there. So we have 2 little
camera.
Who knows, right? It could be a little camera, it could be a microphone, something
We
there.
don't need a camera.
But a microphone will be cool, for games that you got to like talk into or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Let's see here. So we go down here on the patent. You guys can see this, right? I'm not going crazy. Like,
Yeah.
Right. So we go here. We see again all the stuff. the inside, the innards. All this stuff is, again, they're using dummies to represent everything. But here we have the lock. Oh, by the way, let me just point something out, because a lot of the comments like, dude, why are you showing us a patent from 2017? What's that date?
That says August 22nd of these 2024s, the year of our Lord Hylia. I'm joking about it.
That was a good one. But how many comments did I have to like, dude, why are you showing us a patent from 2017 telling us about Switch 2? That's the same.
Not questioning Mike on his patent abilities, please.
That's what I hear in my head when I hear this comment. Like, dude, why are you showing us a patent from Switch? I don't know if that's how they sound like, but that's what I hear. So next time you win a comment like that, that's what I'm hearing in my head, by the way. Okay. And let's look at the inside. First thing, this is the lock unlock system for the actual Joy-Con, right? The stuff here. Here we have. This is. I want to show this to Paul to see what he thinks about it. This is again another diagram, but to me the interesting part is that they're showing, because of the TV is showing this part here, and then they go ahead and for the very first time they show this. Okay.
Exactly.
I'm telling you for the very first time, because I've looked at hundreds of patents for Nintendo Switches. Hundreds. Okay. I've seen this before, but I've never seen them repeat the image in a bigger way like this one, kind of showing you there. Where we have
I don't know what I'm looking
A
at.
physical
we have
power
a
button
dock.
on the dock. Yes.
We have a-
Oh, it's not
we
too
have a-
much to ask for.
and
Sorry.
then
Nintendo Switch 2 going into the dock, but allowing the screen to be shown like I
exactly. Yeah.
That's
Exactly.
Okay.
advertising space, mini game, a different way how to do tabletop mode, maybe a map for your Nintendo game that you're playing is there, and then controlling on the screen with another Nintendo Switch, or maybe that tethering technology, that streaming tech,
Mhm.
or
You
just
know
a
what,
simple
it's-
clock, or a fun app for Netflix to scroll by, or whatever.
What
Yeah.
it's starting to
Well,
remind me
notification.
of is a Google Home with the screen.
Yeah. And so this is, guys, I dare anybody out there, go on uspto.gov. Very easy. Go to patent, go to basic, so you guys can understand. There's a basic part. I use the advanced part because I know what to look for, but there's a basic part. All you gotta do is just type Nintendo, and then a whole bunch of patents will come up. You have to look through them. It's not easy. Look through them, find them, and I'll pay anybody who can find this image. You're probably gonna find this one, but this image, okay, this image here. This is a brand new image. If you scroll down even more, what do we have here? Remember the innards, the
Mhm.
innard of the other patent. We got the magnetic force sensor.
So the force is with the Switch too.
It is magnetic, and then we have the two slots, the first slot, second slot, the ambient light sensor, the temperature sensor, the cooling
I have a
fan.
question.
I knew it.
I'm sorry, I just had a question.
No. You
What
were
do the
first.
what do the slots mean? Are those like the
That's
cartridge
what I
slots?
was about to say.
So
Oh,
it could be, there's two ways of interpreting this right here. Obviously, it can confirm backwards compatibility, right? And it has it has compatibility with two versions of Switch cartridges. First slot, let's say first slot is Nintendo Switch 2. Second slot is Nintendo Switch. They might both fit in the same slot, but there's two of them. There's this for Switch and there's for Switch 2. Or it can have just two slots, one side by side, in the same exact theme. I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna go with that one slot that fits both, and it's kind of in a way where you can't put the Switch 2 cartridge in the Switch, but you can put the Switch cartridge in the Switch 2. So
One of those slots could be for an SD card also.
Would it be there though?
every other patent from Nintendo, they only have one slot here, and they don't show any other slots for SD cards.
Cool.
And they are both IF slots. So the IF slot that they show on Nintendo Switch, they could both be for SD cards. You can have dual SD cards because maybe the games are so big, you might want to have two SD cards. I mean, my camera, my Sony camera has two SD slots because of 4K footage. So you could be right on that one. This could be games. This could be a dual SD slot for two SD. We got the fan cooling, power adapter, volume button, power button, and all the other limbo, pajimbo.
You know what I want it to be, or I want some system to do? An
Mhm.
expansion pack, a modern day expansion pack, like how Nintendo upgraded the Nintendo 64's RAM back in the day from 4 megs to 8 with the 4 megabyte expansion pack. How much would it realistically take? What kind of CPU power and technical wizardry would you have to throw in there to make this impact where partway through a generation, you throw in a 1 gigabyte extra, 2 gigabyte extra, or no, terabyte probably, or no, gigabyte, yeah, a 2 gigabyte RAM stick that gets absorbed into the system and gives it that little bit of power.
I can see that coming. Not this next console generation, but so not PS6 or Xbox Mega X and S, since they keep the X and the S, but they always change the other thing for some reason. But no, yeah, because modular stuff is becoming, we're kind of hitting that point where like technology is getting more and more simplified. Like the more complicated it gets. And so I don't know if you've seen the Framework laptops, but they're on their second generation and they're getting partnerships with Intel now and NVIDIA. And it's basically you can use every part of your laptop and like swap it out like super easily. But that tech is catching on in more and more fields. I know there's Framework type phones. That's how a PC works. And these game consoles are getting closer and closer to PCs. So I say we'll go back in 15 years and to this podcast and see that I said 2 generations from now.
Somebody's like writing it down at Nintendo, like, okay, so
they were like, well, we were going to use it for the next one, but we don't want to embarrass them.
I don't doubt that Nintendo has some people in the field just seeing and just taking a pulse of how people think and what people are mentioning it. And then, because they want to please the fans in some way or form. And so I'm pretty sure they have some people out there just kind of taking notes and just reporting back to Nintendo, hey, this person said this, about we do this. They do a version of it, But this is this is part of the video from yesterday. I wanted to show Paul that because I know he mentioned that a couple of podcasts ago. I thought it was a really good idea to have that front part out. It serves as it's true. It serves as a dock, but also a stand because the screen is exposed, like a clock. Yeah, so many functionalities. It'll look so much better next to your TV with that screen there. Just maybe having a Mario just running by with the clock or whatever, or ticking or something. Something really cool. But yeah, go ahead.
So I know you talked about this a while ago, and I actually finally remembered something. Does this show us or give us an idea of what we're looking at in terms of power? I'm asking for a reason. I'm talking about power to run more graphically intense games or games that just I don't know how any of that stuff works. Does any of this give us an indicator?
No, they basically it just shows you the components. Like for example, we know the CPU is what computer power.
I do know that. I do know that.
So the CPU is here. We know it now. It has a fan, cooling fan. It has the temperature sensor, so it kind of maybe it's a more powerful system. So it actually has to monitor, make sure it doesn't overheat. I have you ever seen the Switch overheating? Has anybody ever had that experience?
I haven't had that issue.
I've never had it either.
The OG Switches, the very first generation.
That one.
They slowly bend from the heat. And so like I can't really tell on mine, but if I put it face down, like take the Joy-Cons off and put it face down on a flat surface, I can see under it like it's pretty bent.
Like the plastic cover.
What was that?
The plastic cover, like the shell.
No, the whole system.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the whole system. If you put it face down and like you look at it eye level, instead of just being like, oh, I can't see through this because there's a table here and a switch here. Yeah. You're like, oh,
That's
I can see through this because it's bowed.
maybe you got the new Switch Fold.
You got it before anybody else.
The
reason I
Galaxy
was
Switch
asking-
Fold.
Yeah.
The reason I was asking about it though is because I know what the rumored specs are supposed to be. Y'all know I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't care. But when we were talking about price earlier, I understand Nintendo's thought process. We want everybody in the house to have their own Switch. Mom, dad, kids, dog, fish, cat, pet monkey, whatever you got. Right? So, however, these are also the same. The parents of today, y'all gotta remember, well, not me, I'm the auntie, but we're the parents, right? Our age group and up. So, and even my mom and my dad at their beautiful, certain, more experienced ages, they know what a Nintendo is and everything. But so, I think of the gamer parents. And also I understand with finances and everything, but I'm thinking of the gamer parents. They probably didn't blink an eye if their kid said, hey, I want a Switch, I want a PlayStation, I want an Xbox, I want a really nice PC to play all my games. So I could see if Nintendo has the power to back it up on the Switch 2, I can see them selling the real nice main base Switch or whatever at a full 500. Maybe even a little bit more if it has the power to back up the price. You see what I mean? And I can see us paying, well, we're going to pay for it, of course, but I can see parents paying for it because then they'll probably slowly start coming down with other models, one for the little kids, one for your teenager who's probably more responsible, not breaking stuff every 2 seconds. I can see them doing that. I'm sorry I said that like so late. I'm so.
No, you're good.
No,
You're
you're
good.
fine,
You're good.
Joycey.
This week was a mess.
We're still on the topic. This is a topic. You're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also,
I just didn't know
fun
if any of
fact,
that instigated it.
No,
we were
but
talking about your parents because we're the parent generation now. Nintendo has a name for them. When I did my Nintendo competition, there was a bunch of different categories you could compete in.
Nintendo dads, Nintendo moms.
And so much better. So there was like parent teen, parent child, teen, child, family, adult, and then for the teams of people over 50, those were the super adults. So Nintendo considers people over 50 super adults.
I love that.
So I think my whole
So
reason,
cute.
my whole reasoning for giving the price point that it is I can say it, and I'm saying it on a personal note. If Nintendo releases a console for $500, I'm not gonna buy it too. I'm not gonna buy one for my. I would have to buy 3. That's $1,500.
But you're which daughter? Did you have an adult daughter and a young daughter?
Even even as a gamer, I find it very hard to spend $1,500 because I don't like spending that much money because you got bills to pay.
But think about it. Think about it. How many people that are your younger daughter's age have a PS5 and have had it?
Yeah, and if they do have it, they only have one for household. They don't have like multiple.
It
PS5.
depends.
There's
now,
what do you call that? A survey. If I can find it, the survey mentions people have more Nintendo systems per household than any other console.
and it makes sense.
It is because Nintendo made the Switch to also be a handheld system, and people, I mean, at least with the kids, they all want to have their own handheld system. If you have a kid in the back of the seat playing with the Switch, you're not gonna have the other person watching. They want to have their own playing at the same time.
No, I agree with you, but I'm talking strictly on price.
Yeah,
Because the thing is, I think the gamers will buy it because we're the gamers. But then I think about the parents, and I've even talked to some of my friends who have kids and everything, and how they kind of feel about it. They don't want to spend $500. They don't want to spend any money on games, period, because it's a money issue.
yeah.
But because some of my friends do have kids who are into games or whatever, they do have a couple of places. And I am not rich, guys, at all. I know high talk and everything. But trust me, I'm really good at budgeting. As are my friends. We are not rich people. Only two of us have houses out of our whole friend group. So I just see somebody who can do a budget pretty well, still paying for it. But I do still, there's going to be a Switch 2 Lite and a Switch, and other versions for the younger people to choose from. So it's not a matter necessarily of parental preference. I'm just saying that if it has the power to back it up, I can still see it going pretty well. And I can see parents paying for it. I understand they don't, but I can still see them doing it.
Yeah, but the article actually from the Insider actually mentioned that Nintendo will not do that. They said they'll be less than $499, so it's not going to go into the $500 mark.
You know why it's going to be okay? Oh, Joyce,
because we're getting more Zelda.
Man, I'll tell you why. I had this argument, like, gosh, 2020. Nintendo
Who
Switch.
dares argue with my cousin Paul?
Man, anyone that's going to lose, that's who.
Oh man, I love that.
Sassy Paul's coming back. Sassy Paul is coming back. I love it.
Before Nintendo Switch OLED model came out, when people were thinking Nintendo Switch was long in the tooth because it was, a little over 3 years old now, they didn't have that July announcement that the OLED model was coming out. People thought, could it be a plus model or whatever? And, well, how much would the new one come out? And then we found out OLED, and I'm like, all this time, just wait. If Nintendo follows a similar pattern as they did this generation, the Nintendo Switch 2 will come out sometime respectively after Xbox Series and PlayStation 5, as Nintendo Switch did to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Technology in this small of a device, 3 years and 4 months after PlayStation 4 and Xbox One that came out for $400, was more or less there in this little device for 3/4 of the price 3.5 years later. Let me just say that. You have this 2013 machine this big, PS4, that comes out for $400. 3.5 years later, the tech needed to play Doom on this machine was able to be squished down into this little Nintendo Switch for 3/4 of price. That means for $300. Is it the same Doom? Is it the same level of CPU and GPU and gigaflops? No, but it's relatively comparable enough because technology advances so quickly that they were able to make a system drastically smaller for so much less. But since time evolves tech so quickly, that's what the Nintendo Switch could do. As long as Nintendo Switch 2 would come out a similar time, which would be 3.5 years after November of 2020, expect that Nintendo Switch 2 to be around the power of an Xbox Series S and around 3/4 the price of this, $500 PS5 Xbox. No, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. There's no way it's going to be that powerful. There's no way. You don't follow trends. I analyze. That's what I do. And then now there's even more evidence that the gap in time is even greater. By the time Nintendo Switch 2 comes out, it will be like 4.5 years after PS5 and Xbox Series. You don't think that 4.5 years after, the amount of power that it took in this $500 device is going to be relatively comparable in a device this big, the same way how 3.5 years after PS4, this big device, they were able to put it into the Nintendo Switch, it's going to be just about the same. So if you had a $400 PS4, 3.5 years later, 3/4 of the price, a $300 Nintendo Switch, now you're going to have a $500 PS5 or a $300 Xbox Series S. 4.5 years later, that price equivalency is about $375.
Yeah.
And the technology, however, you could make the argument, inflation, things have gone up. $300 from 2017 is like $384 now. $350 OLED from 2021 is like $412 now. Nintendo Switch 2 is probably going to punch higher above its weight for a 2025 machine than Nintendo Switch did in 2017 as a 2017 machine. Probably. But you can make the argument, maybe it was supposed to be out this year, but they're waiting a little bit longer for more developers to be on board, for them to produce more units, for the parts to get cheaper so they don't have to sell it for as much, because by the time they come out and they hit that manufacturing line, things got reduced by $13 per unit, $16 per processor, and now they don't have to sell it for $450. Now they could hit that $400, you know? So everything lines up with time. You just have to use history to look. And power equivalency, time equivalency, sales equivalency, scaling equivalency, it's all there. You know, unless if somebody totally bucks the trend, then you get these outliers. But otherwise, I was making these claims in like April of 2020. Watch, the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to come out cheaper than $500, and it's going to be, you know, if you find the comments.
No, you made exactly the point that I was trying to make earlier. The reason why it's going to be a cheaper price is because first Nintendo knows the market and their audience, and therefore, they might wait for technology from that was a certain price back when PS5 came out to go down, like CPUs, GPUs, and right now, how many newer GPUs and CPUs have come out since the PS5 come out? A lot. I mean, PS5 Pro is coming out soon, and Xbox Series X Pro, whatever they decide to call it, is coming out now. So it makes perfect sense for Nintendo to just wait it out until those components are at a lower price, so that they can stay within that price point, delivering a system that's still compatible with this generation. So I agree with you, Paul. That's a really good point.
Very good.
So fast. Do you remember when all the rage was the 3070, 80, 90 series?
Yeah, I remember.
It was on it, and it was like amazing. Oh my gosh, this 3090. And now they got the 4090.
Yeah, and you can get. I'm literally stacking my PC right now. Like, you can get 16 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM, 3060s for $200. So, you know, the 4090, like, even that's already come down in price a little bit, but like the 4090 is still like what, $900, $800, right? So, or 900, 800, no, it's more than that, right? It's like 1500 or something.
It came out for like 15 or 16 or something.
Yeah. So let's just say 1200 for easier math. So I have 4 graphics card slots in my computer. I can buy 4 3060s and get they have 12 gigs of RAM in each of them. So I can have a total of 48 gigs, which maybe isn't as much, maybe isn't as powerful per gig as the newer systems, because they can do more with, you know, all of the stuff built into them. But what's gonna outperform the other one? 48 gigs of GDR6 for $800, or 18 gigs of GDDR6 newer generation for $1,200. Like, that's insane. Like, obviously that's gonna outperform that. You gotta, you know, have room for it and power for it, and then other stuff gets more expensive. But, you know, being able to take the best of the previous gen, or even like the best of the earliest of the new gen at such a discounted price, and just kind of like crush it together, for lack of a better term, like you're gonna get the power.
So and this is what they're doing. They're taking last gen's components, or I can say, you know, it'll become last gen's components when PS5 Pro comes out and everything, you know. They're taking those components at a cheaper price and combining it with today's technology, AI upscaling. This is something that basically what they're doing is they are taking a smarter route to the future. they're not, they know, like, you know what, Nintendo they are the kings of profit. This is what they're doing, because if they're actually worried about they're giving you an LCD screen. By the way, an LCD screen from now, not an LCD screen from 7 years ago, just so that they can, keep the cost low. They can save on that. Imagine what they're doing with everything else, with all the components within the system. They've waited enough time. Okay, so everything has come down. I think we can actually use this with today's technology, with the NVIDIA chip, the AI upscaling, the DLSS, all that combined to mimic what these people are doing with all their hardware put together. You know what I mean? And so I think we presented between all of us a pretty good argument of why the system is not going to be incredibly expensive like the PS5 or Xbox Series X. There's a way Nintendo is working that we could see a system that's pretty affordable yet powerful enough to be considered a current gen system. And that's you want to add something, Paul?
Even when Nintendo 64 was in the power race,
yeah,
like Super Nintendo, N64, Nintendo GameCube era, their systems ended up being cheaper. Like GameCube found a way how to be more powerful than PlayStation 2, more powerful in some ways than the original Xbox, and how it did it was a proprietary disc. They didn't have to pay licensing fees for DVD. They had different type of components here in their readers, and the Nintendo GameCube was able to make a profit and be a $200 console, not $300 like the other ones. The N64 was a more powerful console than PlayStation, but it didn't use any moving parts. It didn't use a laser or a disc reader or anything that spun around. It used an older tech in cartridge technology to do that. So even when Nintendo does go for power, which they haven't tried to win the powerhouse generation in a while, they still find a way to try to make it cheaper. You could only argue, well, what about Wii U? That was the most powerful console out there. Yeah, for a year, and in some regards, in others, it actually wasn't quite, but overall, it did win out. But so much R&D went into the system and the screen and the screening tech and the gamepad, which had a lot of early tech too good for its time almost, that made it more expensive and sold at a loss. Anyways, more often than not, Nintendo is hardware focused on making it affordable, and not selling at a loss, trying to achieve two things at the same time. With inflation, and also depending on the Japanese yen and how strong is the U.S. currency, and other foreign things that could also impact. So via bundle, via software thing, via splitting it up between with dock, without dock, there's other ways that they could kind of make it work, but they want it to be in systems, people's homes. Nintendo would love if more people somehow bought a Nintendo Switch 2 than a Nintendo Switch. It could be that successful again, but hitting 100 million, I think that's almost a guarantee.
Oh yeah, for sure. And especially now with third-party support, that I believe that Switch 2 will outsell Nintendo Switch eventually. I think it'll be a longer generation system. And I think that because of third-party support, remember, we're going to get all the first-party support we're going to get, right? All the games, all the multi-million copy sales. But now, with the addition of third-party support, having Call of Duty and that big audience wanting a handheld system that plays well and play that Call of Duty game there, I think Metro is going to do pretty well with the system with this new game. And of course, let's say Elden Ring comes to, having all these games that have already been out on PS5 and Xbox coming to handheld, and people who haven't purchased it, all Nintendo fans who haven't purchased that, will be able to jump on those, plus the new third-party games that are coming to the system. So we're going to have an audience that likes those AAA third-party games and would like to take them with them on the go, on the bus, on the train, to work, whatever. And, so I feel like we're going to Switch 2, if done right, they don't go too crazy. with the controllers, they keep it simple. Just fix what they need to fix with the Joy-Cons, right? These are pretty good controllers. Just fix the Joy-Con drift, right? Everything else, I don't find an issue with. Maybe do a little more ergonomic, but then again, why you have these little adapters you can use, but it has so much potential.
Controller that feels a little bit better in your hands.
Yeah. So
I didn't realize what I was kind of doing over the years, but
yeah,
I feel it.
Give me the
Yeah.
pad. Just give me the GameCube controller. Like, just make that. Just add the Z bumper to the left side too, and you have your perfect controller.
yeah.
What was
Give
the
it to me,
Deadpool-
Nintendo.
What was the Deadpool Xbox?
Oh my god, that was awesome! I love that. I think
It
I
had
went-
a little junk in the trunk.
The
little
Deadpool
bu- the
Xbox
little
controller
bubble
was
butt.
That's so funny. I hope I want. Well,
hopefully they release it, right? Because I know it was part of like a giveaway or whatever, like a sweepstakes.
I just
Even if
want
not in that same
colored
color.
controllers again.
What'd you say, Paul?
I want colored pro controllers, like official Nintendo first party. I thought like the fantastic colors that Nintendo 64 had. Oh, the blue, the yellow, the red, the green, the gray, the black. Even if I didn't need it, I mean, I have a family of 4, so I guess I would be justified, but I want to buy a yellow, a red, a blue, a green pro controller for Nintendo Switch 2.
And make them
it's-
clear.
Because I love all this stuff is art for me, you know?
It is.
My whole living
It
room is
is.
all Nintendo everywhere.
It is. I mean, that's why I love Apple, because they're well. Steve Jobs was very artistic, like thinking. Tim Cook is just a great person. Anyway, so now
I have my opinions of Tim as well.
it is the time for Q&A. Right now, so far we have what started
Wait.
two questions.
Can I
One-
say something?
Yeah, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
I actually remember something, and I told y'all not to let me forget. Who says the next direct has anything to do with games? What if
Zelda
up-
movie.
Legos. Oh,
Legos. Hey,
okay,
by the way, that's another thing.
Lego Zelda movie?
Oh, that would be awesome. I would love any Zelda movie or Lego Mario
they're
movie.
like, we said live action. We filmed it with a real camera.
Listen,
We didn't say real
Oh my
people.
gosh.
It's Legos.
oh my God. That is hilarious. Like
It's
stop
stop
motion.
motion, which is
Stop
live
motion.
action. Oh my gosh.
That'd be
Oh,
funny.
what a Trump. What a.
But listen, Paul, remember the little teaser they gave us with Lego and Mario Kart?
Yeah.
They released it. I was so disappointed. I'm like, what is that?
They showed it off. So I guess it's not the game that we were joking. Like, oh, what if it's Mario Kart the game?
And
It's
then
gonna be a movie.
it's weird, man. It's weird.
There'll be a Lego
but-
set to buy with it. It's gonna be a movie. You heard it
But
here first.
I'm hyped for the Zelda movie. I know we're gonna hear about it this year, and before the year ends. You're right, you're right, Jesse. We can get, because we got the Mario cast in a random direct. We can get the same thing.
And I'll take
Yeah.
any kind of update. I don't care what it is. Hey, we wrote the script. Into presentation. Yes, I'm winning. That's how I would feel about it. But I'm just thinking like that could work. And Echoes of Wisdom is on its way out. So if we do have a Nintendo Direct before September, well, at least before Echoes of Wisdom comes out, it's going to get a little blip in the Direct. They're not going to do a big thing, but they're going to have a little blip, and then Miyamoto comes on screen and he's like, "Hi, I'm also Link's dad."
Yeah.
Finally, The Legend of Zelda is making us money. I'm kidding.
That's
But
funny.
seriously, I think that would work, and that would really keep us talking for a while. I know everybody wants Switch 2, but I'm excited of what Switch 2, what it really signifies, and it signifies a new generation, more new games, and we've seen how great these games were for this generation.
Mhm.
Next system, and then more movies. We already know for a fact we're getting a Zelda movie. We're getting the second Mario Brothers movie. I don't know what they're going to do with the story. I don't know if it's a sequel or what. I don't care. I'm going to go see it. What if we get another TV show announcement, movie announcement? That's what I get excited for when I hear about Switch 2.
Yeah.
as I think about the things that are coming in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're right, because we're getting a Zelda game in that same month. So what better way to give us an update on the movie, right? Even if we're starting production in the movie, we'll have more information coming soon, or a future direct related to the movie.
They went and found the actor who plays Link somewhere in a farm in the middle of like Nebraska somewhere. I'm telling y'all.
All right, you got a question by Bradley Taylor. Shout out to Bradley Taylor for your question. Guys, if you have any questions, this is the time. This is your time. We got the next 5 minutes to answer questions. So make sure if you have any questions about anything we spoke on the podcast or anything at all regarding gaming, then go ahead and bring down your question. In a minute, I want Paul to go ahead and let you guys know what happened. He hasn't explained what happened to him a couple days ago. Thank God Paul's here with us. He is doing good, recovering. But he'll
worry me into gray hair.
Yeah, well, he'll tell us. So, when next week do you think we'll get a direct? I say Tuesday, August 27th, because Earthbound's 30th anniversary, which I think we'll get another third announced at the direct. Then
I think they mean Mother 3 announced. I'm pretty sure that's what he meant, because everybody's been begging for Mother 3 for like how many decades now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's gonna be.
I don't want to say everybody, but a lot of people. I think it'd do well.
So the direct, I wouldn't rule it out. If we have a direct in August, I don't rule out Nintendo doing it on Tuesday. I wouldn't really say it's gonna be the Wednesday or Thursday, which will be on either the 28th or the 29th. Because of the past, Nintendo's been doing their directs on Wednesdays and Thursdays. But then again, we are now entering a new era with Furukawa doing game releases on Thursdays. He's implementing his little style of being a little bit more transparent, because when we do get a direct, he's gonna say, "Hey, don't ask me about Switch 2 because it's not gonna be here," and then move on forward. He's done it twice already. You know what that means to me? That tells me that when he doesn't say it, that's when we're gonna get it, because he's already said it twice. So if
he comes out again and he's like, "Okay, not this direct, but the one after."
right. But yeah, I mean, he's already said it twice. So that tells me that when they do announce it, they might announce the presentation beforehand, and maybe that's something new that they're kind of picking up, of being a little more transparent with their future announcement.
Well, here's the other thing. I agree with that, but the other thing is, traditionally speaking, Nintendo's kind of like doesn't always necessarily care per se about anniversaries all the time. They do, but they don't.
Yeah.
Like they think it's something fun to talk about if they feel the need to.
If they have merch.
Or if they have merch.
Amiibo for Zelda's coming up in the direct.
So there's that. But as far as specifically the fact that that's the anniversary of Earthbound, while it would make sense, Nintendo, like I said, unless there's really, really a good reason, they usually don't pay attention to a lot of anniversaries. One of the times I think that I remember significantly is playing Skyward Sword which came out on around Zelda's 25th anniversary, and it says it in the game. So, yeah.
All right, so we got a question here from Arus218. We need playing Zelda movie first, don't we? We do. Yes. We definitely do.
Before we do Lego, before we do anything else, we have to do the serious movies first.
Yeah, let's do it.
So everybody takes it seriously, and then we can do Lego Zelda.
Yeah, let's do it. And the next question from DH Gaming: do you think we will get ports of Xbox or PlayStation games on Switch 2? I commented on this before. I said there's a big possibility, because we have Nintendo shaking hands with Sony behind the scenes and working on the Zelda movie. That could be a little leeway for Xbox to say, you know what? I mean, PlayStation to say, you know what? We got these old games there that are not selling as well anymore. Spider-Man 1, Miles Morales, not the latest one, but at least the older versions of it. How about we throw them on Switch 2? Give them a little more life, So even Horizon, the first game, which is my favorite of the two, could also be a game that Sony can say, you know what, let's put this on Switch too. Give it.
We're already getting the Lego version.
Yeah, we are getting the Lego version, and like again, that's another sign there, another collaboration between Nintendo and Sony, which who would have thought, right? We got the movie coming up with Sony and Nintendo collaborating, and we have Horizon Lego on Nintendo collaborating. But I heard that maybe it was Lego said no, we have to have this on Switch because it's a family game. They have more people there, whatever.
The other thing is, I really need people to understand Sony is a business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They don't care what we think. And what I mean by that is the devs care what you think so they can improve on their games.
Yeah.
But they don't care what they think. Sony doesn't actively put anything on Nintendo because they're a direct competitor. And because they don't really need us per se. So like Mike was saying, Mike's over this way. Yeah, like Mike was saying, it would make more sense to put a lot of their earlier games on Switch now or Switch 2 now. So that's all that I mean by that.
Yeah. So there's a possibility that we can get Xbox already said it. Bill already said it. He's open to putting all of their games on other consoles. I think that includes Switch 2. We're getting Call of Duty on Nintendo Switch 2. I'm pretty sure that's going to be a launch game, a launch title with it. But yeah, I could see that happening. Right, you got here that one we already showed. I think there's another one, right? You guys help me look and see if there's another question. The chat. Is that? I think that's it. That's it. We're good.
I didn't see any anymore, and then I know I was talking to some people in the chat, but nobody actually had a question. Well, while we're doing our outro here, if you have any last minute questions, please get them in because y'all, it's almost 10 o'clock where I am. I think it's almost 11 where Mike is. We are going to be heading out soon. If you have any last minute questions, get them in so we can so while we're saying good night.
So Paul's going to give us a brief version of what he went through the past couple of days. After Paul, I'm going to give you guys a little update as well. And then we can go ahead and then close the podcast with that. So Paul, you want to go ahead and share?
Yeah, not exactly like great news or fun news, but the fact that I'm better is the good news. But
yeah, that's good news. Yeah,
very good news.
Early Monday morning, like 1:30, I went to the restroom. Oh, it might be needed to be saved for another time because Boo Mini, more importantly, just dropped a $5 super chat with a question. She says, if the Zelda team decided to release one more game in the Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom world, do you think it would have been successful?
Yes, I believe so. Because they made the world so much bigger with this is on Switch, by the way. We're talking about Nintendo Switch, this apparent limited console where Nintendo was able to build this. First thing, Breath of the Wild was big already. And so they added this guy. They surprised us with the underground. Imagine how much bigger they can go with another Zelda game on Switch 2. On Switch 2 within the same kind of, it doesn't have to be right away. It could be maybe like the next generation, like the grandkids of this Link and Zelda, but it's still in the same Hyrule. Maybe expand further off.
I don't think we're going to be in Hyrule next time.
Yeah. That'll be cool though if we get somewhere else. That'd be awesome, right?
Because we've been other places. To also, Boobity, if they had done a full-fledged trilogy where we see what Zelda was doing while she was in the before times in the long ago.
The before times.
The before times in the long ago. That would have been a smash hit.
Yeah, it would. It would have. I believe it. Yeah. So
Sorry,
thank you so much, Boomini, for that.
Thank you, Boo.
Chat. You are awesome. Back to Paul.
Boo you.
Back to Paul.
I have to leave with a couple of minutes before 8, so this will also be my buy in advance. Not to cut out right now, but
yeah.
Hopefully, long story, relatively short. 1:30, woke up Monday morning, felt like vomit in the back of my throat. Went to the restroom, didn't throw up. Standing at the sink, I remember getting some soap, washing my hands, and all of a sudden just a massive blood rush, like getting all wonky in my head, where just a tremendous amount of blood pressure, not being able to see, hear, faculty starting to fall apart. Like, I know, something bad is not happening. Chest not feeling good, head not feeling good, and then like a lot of pain, really wonky. And then all of a sudden, boom. The next thing I remember is I'm laying down and I'm saying, like, oh, I wasn't feeling the best when I went to bed in the first place, you know. But when I'm laying down, coming to, I'm like, oh, why is the bed so hard? I'm in so much pain. Gosh, this is uncomfortable. Why does my head hurt and my shoulder hurts and my hip? Oh, this sucks. It just doesn't feel good. Why am I laying down like this? What? Incoherent but uncomfortable, like not realizing what happened. And then I'm reaching to the head, and you know, like my hand is sliding on the floor. I'm like, why is this sheet hard? And where did my pillow go? And my head is wet, and I'm bleeding. I processed I'm bleeding, and then I could barely hear, but I could hear a little bit of light water coming. Like, did I leave the hose on outside, or what's this water? And then, is it my head coming to water? No. And I'm like, oh, that's the sink. Hold on, the sink's coming to water. Oh, I was in the bathroom. And I can't see. Like, it's not pitch black, because there's always a little bit of light from here or there, you know, reflecting off from outdoors elsewhere in the house. And then my eyes are open, but I can't see. And then I eventually see right behind over here, you know, Peach sleeps here at night, you know, sometimes in a cage, sometimes out. And I can see her. And I'm like, why? I'm on the floor. I fell. I fainted. And I'm seeing her. And I'm trying to call out for help, like, Kim, my wife, Kim. And I can't get it. Before I went to bed, though, or when I was waking up to get the
Water?
When I like felt a vomit in my throat, I said, could you get the thermometer? So she happened to be awake. So she was in the kitchen. So I'm glad that she was awake, because she heard the fall. She said, I heard you fall. Like, I couldn't hear you calling out to me, but I heard the loud thud. So I knew, like, oh, you fell. So she came over and she's asking me questions, and I could see her body, but like, I can't make it out. I know it's her, but like, you're bleeding and gotta call the ambulance, and like, oh no. And you know, crawling. I just need to get back to bed, and incoherent, and then slowly coming to, like, oh, I fell on the floor. I passed out. I got knocked out, like fainted, but then get knocked out from hitting the floor so freaking hard. Because, you know, this tall, boom, hitting down, boom, hip, shoulder, crack the head. Right around here, like a few inches more, is hard, sharp angle, you know, a square 90-degree angle edge of a entertainment center, big sharp edge, you know. So a couple of inches more, this wouldn't have hit like the flat floor, which sucks. This would have hit the, you know, right angle sharp edge of an entertainment center. I don't like the thought of that. Whether the point or not the point, but you take 175 pounds and crack down on that from 5'11", that doesn't sound good. So I'm lying in bed, and I just get the ice pack, and I was like, I'll sleep throughout the night. I'll go in the morning. I'm like, I know I need to go now, but like going to bed with a concussion after you got knocked out, probably not good news. So she called my parents. Dad came over, watched the kids. She drove me to the ER. I'm hobbling out, going into the wheelchair, and they're like, hooked me up with EKG machine, checking my heart rate's way low, blood pressure's way low, my body's out of whack. I'm like, I had this feeling of throwing up. I'm like, that's weird. I'm like, could you actually get me that trash can? And like hurling in the bucket over and over and over. And like the nurses had some funny stories later on to say. They do a CAT scan on my brain, so no brain damage. They do an X-ray on my shoulder, my heart, my hip. Nothing's broken, but you know, like a super massive dehydration dump, despite the whole day drinking plenty of water, eating normal foods, all of that. And then just, you know, chalked it up to some kind of nasty viral infection that, you know, hit me boom hard. And then I'm like, can you check the back of my head still? And, when I'm getting up, because most of the time you're laying down, except for when they're doing like IV to like take blood out and to put the IV drip in. And they're like, dude, there's a lot of blood coming out of your head onto the back of the, the hospital sheets. So then the guy numbed up my head and, stapled it. So I got a couple of staples in the back here. And then just Monday went by and super woozy and slow, and Tuesday went by a little bit better, but my faculties, like everything, hearing is weird. It's not like stereo sound, it's muffled. Seeing, vision is normal at this point. I came back home at like 9 a.m. or something, so I was only in the hospital for 7 hours, but like that probably the worst I felt ever. And then by Tuesday night, a little better, and then by Wednesday morning was close to normal. And then like Wednesday afternoon, like I had a little bit of an adrenaline boost, so I felt me for a little bit. I had some energy for a little bit, and it probably wasn't a good idea, because then the rest of the day I was like, dude, I am drained. And then Thursday took me more time to recoup. And today, almost normal self. Only at a little point in today did I feel, I feel impacted still. So I'm a lot better. I'm a lot better than I was. And today is probably like the first most of me feels normal day, except for the physical pain. Faculties are almost back, except for like a couple brief hours today where I'm like, dude, I'm tired all of a sudden, and I'm not all there, but it's getting better. So Saturday will be better than today, I'm sure. Sunday will be better, and then Monday going back. So no, not COVID, no, but just some kind of viral infection. Anyways, so I don't usually. I like to be a beacon of positivity and good light on social media platforms and stuff like that. So, an ailment, I never, reach out or put out there to have like a, oh, woe's me party. But I felt so bad and it was so scary that I'm like, you know what? There's a good community out there. It felt worth to say something as a just in case something happens, but also as a dude, I'm not at my lowest low. A little bit of a boost from peers and friends and colleagues, would mean a lot right now. And then like I got a lot of support. So I'm always grateful and appreciative of that on my Instagram and X and stuff like that, and Facebook, and just it's a crazy ride. And no matter how strong you are or this or that, like dude, our bodies are super fragile at the end of the day, and it's very easy to lose a limb, lose a sight, a vision, fall down, get hurt. We're not like lions and gorillas that dealing with thorns and ticks and critters and insects. Zach might get that joke. I said that on purpose to see, are you gonna smile? So shout out to Zach
and
I'll
other
say
things
before I go. The thing that I did Wednesday, which maybe I shouldn't have done because I should have rested more, but I couldn't help it. You'll see the fruits of the labor later on, but Zach is responsible. So if you paid attention on X the other day when I did a little bit of a reach out, hey, does anybody want to help me with a little something? Zach stepped up and did something super dope. So when you see it, you'll know like, oh, that's the voice, the edit, the music, the everything behind this little thing. He did something pretty awesome, and so I appreciate that. Thanks. So everything kind of ties into one little story, sort of. Yeah, I mean more or less. But that thing means a lot because that thing is from something else that, in a way, is a redemption thing of a former injury. I'm speaking in riddles right now. Even Zach's story of
he knows when the direct is. He's trying to tell us without telling us.
This is the Paul Gale direct.
I did you a little favor. No, that holds more weight because of something that happened in like 2011. So, and then that holds weight from something that happened in like 2003 or 4. So, I'm a riddle man, but it'll make sense eventually. So you'll all see it, and Zach, I'll tell you more behind it, so like, oh, dude. So it meant more than you know. You already know what it meant, but it meant more. Anyway,
Yeah, well, it's always fun being able to help people out, especially your good friends, and so yeah, like you make fun stuff, and it's fun to help you. Again, being vague,
yeah.
but yeah, no, it's I'm glad we were able to put our talents together.
Yeah. Health
I'm
is
just
wealth,
so glad
people.
you're okay.
Thank you, Lucy.
Yeah.
I really was worried about when I saw that tweet. I was really worried about you.
I got your message. Mike
Good.
texted. I got a lot of.
I texted Paul like the literally minutes while he was coming from the hospital. Actually, we were talking via text, and he was
the day before. The day before, I did a Indie Mania countdown. That's 25 days to Indie Mania.
The push-ups.
Work out a day. I'll do one, and then Mike will do one. Day 25, 24, 23, 22. Do it in themes. 25 push-ups, 24 jumbo jacks, whatever. 23 squats, 22 arm circles, 21 boom. Just a little, how do you get pumped up for Indie Mania? Let's get pumped up working out. And
24 staples.
And then I told Mike, hey, by the way, I'm not going to be able to work out today. And this is what happened.
I said, you know what, Paul? In honor of you, I'm not going to work out either.
I'm sticking up in solidarity by not working out.
We're all not going to work out for the whole weekend.
I'm not going to work out until you're 100%.
I'm going to drive to the mailbox, Dag Nabbit.
Listen, it's a sacrifice. It's a sacrifice I got to make. I'm not going to work out, but that's a promise. Until you're 100%
We're here for you, Paul.
No push-ups.
Oh, thank you.
I'm so glad your family was there to take care of you and everything.
Oh
so
man,
it's so thankful to your wife and your parents, of course.
Yeah,
I would have really cried if something had happened.
I wouldn't have. I don't know if my wife was sleeping. I don't know if the thud would have been loud enough because my voice definitely wasn't. And so I don't want to think of that. Like, well, what if I couldn't call out? And what if I didn't get the help to get up and I just laid there bleeding?
I would have not done the show without Paul. Period. Indie Mania would not have done the show without Paul. Period. That's all I'm gonna say.
We don't want to think about the what ifs. We're glad.
No, we're here. Paul's here. He's good to go. We're great. And guess what, guys? Paul, where can we find you? What do you have going on this week?
Well,
he's going to relax. Otherwise,
I'm alive. I'm healing up. I'm doing well.
You're gonna relax.
You could find me. I just posted up some sweet Famitsu sales, which include the last 2 weeks of sales data that came out of Japan, and Nintendo just rocked it, selling like a new console, and people wondering, how come Nintendo Switch 2 isn't coming out? Because when your system sells 150,000 units in 2 weeks, that's why. And over on YouTube, you could find me there, and in 20 days, you'll find me on Indie Mania. And just chilling.
We gotta push it back
and have some fun. And I gotta roll. I'm so close to the end that I might as well stay, but I do have to go, unfortunately.
All right, Paul. Take care.
You're going to go relax, right?
Better call Paul.
And Zach.
Relax. Gonna sit down. Yeah.
Okay,
Zach,
good.
Awesome. Yeah, go rest.
Bye, everybody. Bye, chat. Thank you, Blue Moon. Thank you, Having Hope. Bye. Thank you, everybody. It was a Talk Show. Everybody saying something. Oh, touched fuzzy, got dizzy. I like that Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island reference. Talk Show. That's a good one. Okay.
All right. And with that, I'll pass it over to Zach. Zach, where can we find you? What do you got going on this week?
This week, I am pretty much going to be working this whole week, but I am very excited. Not this week, but next Friday. No, not next Friday. My gosh, it's 3 weeks away. Oh, that gives me more time to prepare. No, that's Indie Mania.
Wait, don't tell me that. Is it 3 weeks away for real?
No.
Good God.
Yeah, September 13th.
Where's the time going?
Well, so it's 30th, 6th, 13th. What time is Indie Mania? Is it in the morning, the evening, at night?
So 10. It's the same time as the direct. It's 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, cool. I'm not going to reschedule then because it's.
I like how you slid that in there, Mike.
So, Friday the 13th, 2 Fridays from now, Indie Mania, but also that will be my first resumption of my regular Smash Bros. Ultimate streams. Next Friday, I will not be able to stream. I should, depending on the time we leave, be on the podcast still. I'm going up to Wisconsin on my first vacation in a long time.
Nice.
And then the Friday after that is doing stuff for my girlfriend's birthday party, and so not going to be streaming that night. That's how you get in trouble.
Happy birthday.
So the one after
we want you
that,
to live.
so that'll be my Indie Mania party stream. I guess we will be celebrating Indie Mania while I play Smash that night. But yeah, you can find me at Zach Hendricks Voiceover or Zach Hendricks Media. I have it so one's the URL, one's the actual like account name on all of my platforms except for Twitter/X, where I am Young Calf Zach. And then of course Friday nights here at the Nintopics podcast.
All right, thank you, Zach. Moving over to Joycey J. Joycey J, what do you got going on? We're going to find you.
I have nothing going on this weekend except relaxation and finishing a book.
Best thing ever.
Yeah, that's my jam. I am DJ Joycey on Twitter/X. I do not call it X. I only have to because I don't know. Why do we have to? I don't know, but I have to. Because that's technically what the name is, and I don't want to confuse anybody, but I will forever call it Twitter, even when we're all retired at Paul's house at the gamer retirement home. Yeah, and other than that, you can find me here every single week on the Topics podcast. And also, Lily, I miss you.
Yeah, Lily, shout out to Lily. She is on her way to She's on her way to an expo. I think is in somewhere where she lives. She's in Canada. Montreal? I don't know. She's on her way to an expo, and she'll tell us all about it when she's back. You can find her everywhere at Lily Hyrule, YouTube, Twitter, Twix, all that stuff. So you can find me here at the Nintopic Podcast every Friday night at 8:30, and of course Monday through Friday on the Odyssey channel. And of course, in a couple of weeks, we will be hosting the biggest, the greatest event in the gaming history, Indie Mania, and it's going to be hosted primarily on the IGN network. When I mean networks, in the Brazilian channel, the Spanish channel, their American channel, and of course they'll cover on the website and also on their Twitch account. So we have a reach about 300 million people there, so it's pretty cool. We'll be there in September 12th, 13th, and 14th of September at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and it'll be a 3-day event. So hope to catch you all there. We got some really cool stuff to show you, a lot of goodies. And I wanted to share something personal that's happened that's kind of life changing a little bit, but I'll wait for another time, just because I want to make sure that you guys give this moment to Paul and what he went through. But I'll share it with the Odyssey family over on the Discord. Things are about to change a little bit, just a little bit. But I'll share with you guys more, and I don't want to bump anybody out. So with that said, thank you for being here. Let me try to find the music again. Let's see here. What do we got? Let's go with that one. It is the end of the weekend. The weekend has now begun. It is officially now the weekend. Now that you've been a part of the Nintopic Podcast experience with DJ Joycey J, we got Zach Hendricks, Paul Gale, which is here, and of course myself. So with that said, what was that?
And Lily Hyrule.
And shout out to everybody watching on the Lily Hyrule channel as well. Thank you guys for being here. And with that said, we got two things we got to let you know before we let you go. Number one, never give up.
Don't do that because we need you.
Don't do it.
And number two, journey on. The journey continues here at the Odyssey and wherever you're at. Thank you guys for being here. You guys are awesome. Hugs, we love you. And we'll see you in the next episode, the next great adventure at the Nintopic Podcast. Let me see if I can find
Be sure to drink lots of water. before the next podcast, everybody.
Hug your loved ones. Don't go to bed angry.
Stay
And,
hydrated. Take
pick up-
vitamins.
Wash your hands and hug
Eat
your
your
mom.
veggies, children.
If you work a
And
sedentary
adults.
job, be sure to stretch.
All right, bye.
Good night, guys. Have a great weekend.
Adios, muchachos.
Live your life within the moment. And don't go wait until the morning. You never know when it is over.
My fish.
All that I know is we'll get older. So let us dance this side away.